What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another week, another episode of 30NSG, or I should say the Daily Grind on 30NSG. I'm 30 and Still Gaming. You can join me Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern as we cover news stories, have conversations with live chat. If you like what we do here, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. On today's show, we're going to be talking about, I played about five and a half hours of Star Wars Outlaws. I'll give you my my overlook of it so far. We'll talk about Black Myth Wukong breaking records, and we'll talk about the memory leak that it's having as well. We'll also kind of figure out the numbers that people playing on Steam compared to people playing on the PlayStation as of right now. And then we're going to talk about Concord as well. We didn't have a show yesterday, so we're going to talk about Concord, even though the rest of the internet has talked about Concord this past weekend. Is absolute devastating for the developers of that game and just the industry itself. Like, look at what the industry is. It's all free to play right now, and they come out with a $40 game, and it's indicative of what's happening right now. So we'll look at all this stuff on today's show. Like I said, if you like it, hit that like button. How's everyone doing in chat? What's going on, Travis? What's going on, Eclipse? What's going on, Crowded House? Dolphin? What's going on, Tarnish? Ron? Robert? What's going on, Rebel? Nice to see you. It's not my type of game right now, Rebel. I don't have time for a lot of these games, so Black Myth will just be put on the back burner for me. What's going on, Argus? All right. This weekend was my son's birthday, and then my parents and stuff were in town. That's why we didn't have a show yesterday morning. Raise the music just a little bit. All right, let's start off with Black Myth. Okay. So Black Myth Wukong has broken records. Good morning, Wonder Rose. Come on, Krubsy. Has broken records. It's come out and said it's sold 10 million units across all platforms, which is fantastic, right? There's been a lot of games this year that have sold very, very well. Very small, first-timers. We have Pal World that sold 25 million units out there. We have Helldivers, which sold 12 million units out there. We have Black Myth Wukong that sold 10 million units out there. And based off of what the concurrent was on, PlayStation and on Steam, with like 2.3 million people playing concurrently, you can see that, basically you can solve for X if you really wanted to of how many, because it says 3 million concurrent players across all platforms. Well, if we go to Black Myth, let me bring up the chart real fast. Okay, so we have 2.4 million all-time peak for, Wukong. Okay, and that's on Steam. So we know 3 million consecutively. They gave just a little bit peek behind the curtain. So we know 3 million concurrent players across all platforms. And we know that 2.4 was playing on Steam. So that means, obviously, about 600,000, a little less, 594,000 people were playing on PlayStation. So now, out of the 10 million, you can look at it and go, well, there's, again, rough estimates. You can look at, there's about 7 million people that bought it for PC, and there's about 2 million, 2.3 million or so that bought it for console, which is fantastic, right? Which is fantastic across the board. So Wukong, is doing really good, even though it's having problems and whatnot on certain people's consoles. It's being rough on the PlayStation, but overall, very successful for the company with a 10 million, right? So much so it says Black Myth Wukong Xbox release is indefinitely delayed due to memory leak bug, it's claimed. Now, Black Myth Wukong reportedly did not pass Xbox bug detection test due to memory leak issues that has been definitely delayed for console. Since the release of the game's science latest action RPG, many are wondering when Black Myth Wukong will be released for the Xbox Series X and S, according to the latest reports, and wait can be longer than expected. Now, its reliable Xbox leak source recently spoke about the release delayed, citing a game crashing bug as the main problem. Okay. It says Xtest met several Xbox Insider developers at Gamescom 2024 who informed him about the technical issues impacting the release of Black Myth: Wukong. According to the Insider, a memory leak bug is causing significant crashes and perform issues on the Xbox consoles. Due to that, game hasn't passed the bug detection test and also has been indefinitely delayed until it manages to optimize the game for Series X and S. Now, a lot of people talk about how the S is the one that's holding the things back. Obviously, they don't ever say that, but you can start connecting the dots and whatnot. You can say, well, Xbox has got standards and they didn't want to release something that wasn't working for the S because it didn't hit the standards, or it didn't hit the standards that they're asking for to run on the S and the X, and because they can't get those to run, this is why it's not out yet. Now, Black Myth: Wukong developers are working hard, to remedy the situation, and once it receives the necessary certification, the release date should follow. Okay, now a good part about this is don't tell us a date until it's actually coming out. Okay, instead of telling us, here's the date and then delay it. So they're not telling us a date because they're still working on the actual game. Black Myth: Wukong failed the Xbox bug detection test twice, which is why the game has been delayed indefinitely. Hopefully, it fixes will arrive soon. In other gaming news, Black Myth: Wukong is reportedly boosting the PlayStation 5 sales in China. Also, Game Science's latest title has already sold more than 10 million units, which I just told you, across the platforms. So these are what things that are happening. Now, obviously, it's a fantastic game. Lots of people are enjoying Black Myth. Say that 10 times fast. A lot of people are enjoying the game this past week. Sold 10 million units. It's been out the same time. Now, we can link this story to the next story that we're going to talk about. But before we get that, we could talk about why Concord's failing. Is it because of the DEI, SBI in the game? Is it because it's a $40 price tag that came out in a free-to-play market in a hero shooter? Or is it because it released the same week as Black Myth and the people that would buy this game on the PlayStation are playing something else, right? I mean, that's a lot of people. We know about 2.5 million people are playing this game that maybe would be interested in Concord, but they would rather take their $60 and spend it, or $70, and play Black Myth instead of paying $40 for Concord. So we'll talk about that in just a second. Let me go to chat. Let me see what you guys are saying about the Black Myth Wukong, about the 10 million. Let's see here. Rebel says it runs great on PC. I think, obviously, I think we're in the same scenario as we were with Cyberpunk 2077 back in the day, about 3 years ago. That game came out and it ran awesome on PC, but wasn't working very well on console this gen, and also the last gen. It was really bad. But people that have those systems, have those things, that those makers of the game put it on those systems because they wanted to make money on it, and it wasn't working and broke. So that's a shitty part of a business model. Jason says, I need some patches and physical PlayStation 5 release before I buy. Argus says the tests have been PC running. Don't loom great either. Need a higher end rig and get decent performance out of it. Even if you want 60 frames per second on high settings, you need a decent PC. Yeah, I mostly play on console. Obviously, I don't have a PlayStation 5. I have an Xbox. So even if I wanted to play Black Myth, I'm not going to get it for PC because when I stream and play games on the PC, it's not a great experience for you guys. It's fine for me, but it's not a great experience for you guys. So we try to stay off of PC when we stream. Okay, let's see. Krebsy says, I'm sus on the Wukong numbers personally. What are you sus about? What are you sus about? Because of overseas? The majority of the people that are buying the game are overseas? I mean, numbers are numbers. But remember, they talk about it. If they'll scream from the hilltops when they have numbers they're excited about, right? We sold 10 million units. We have 3 million consecutive players. Rebel says he averages 80 to 90 frames per second. Eclipse says, yeah, I mean, the weaker console has like 10 gigs of RAM. So, yeah, I would say it does have a memory leak. Yeah, we just read that, Argus. Yeah, it failed twice. But you got to remember, right? This is an article being written to tell you, and it could be damage control. Okay, we've had other games on the Xbox. I'm an Xbox owner, but I also can see the problem that the S is holding us back, right? I've even said talks about if the handheld came out, if Xbox had a handheld, that would be the new thing holding us back for Xbox, right? Because now you have to make 3 things across the board, and doesn't matter how powerful or how it is, now you have to perform 3 separate things across the board for the consoles, and that is the hurting factor for Microsoft and Xbox, right? So we know the S is a problem. A lot of people don't want to admit that, but it is a problem. It is a much lesser system than the X. It's holding back. They can't do what they want with the X because they have a little brother out there. So when they have a report saying that it's, it failed the test, you could say that, oh yeah, Xbox has standards. They don't want to put a game out because it's not hitting the stats. Or you can look at it as, well, it's not hitting the stats that Microsoft wants for both the systems, so they can't release anything. Turner says, Argus, it's not great for anyone other than the folks with the high-end rigs, but it's very possible to hit 60 frames in mid-range systems using the DLSS, like the 3060, for example. Jones says, bought Concord Friday night and put about 2 hours in. My issue, Jones, has never been with the if it's good or bad. It's about the pricing model and the landscape of the video game industry. I looked at video footage of it, people playing it. It seems like a really fun game. It seems, graphically wise, gameplay wise, strategic wise, the maps look decent. It looks and feels, I think, like, the Crucible and stuff from Destiny. But just falls flat because of the price point that they did in the landscape of video games. Rebsy says it runs great on PC if you have 4090. Eclipse says, I feel like people think that Chinese money isn't worth anything or something. Yeah, I don't understand. If there's 10 million people playing the game, does it really matter where they're playing the game? Or do you think they're just faking the numbers and there's not actually 10 million people playing the game, which I don't know where you would get that from or any kind of reasoning behind that. Ron says, I still love Anthem, so I feel Concord's pain. Well, the difference between Anthem and Concord is that Concord went out there knowing that they're putting a game out there that's just like all the other games, but they put a $40 price tag on there. That's the problem. Jax82 says, I've been playing Wukong on PlayStation 5. I've had stutters, and it froze on me one time. Yeah, they're saying a lot of the issues of the stuttering and stuff like that. Argus says, Concord equals a joke of the year. Rebel says, in my opinion, it pays to save money, build a good PC, and be done with it. Sure. Yeah. Save up a little bit. But a lot of people want to play games now. You know what I mean? So that's where consoles come in. People are like, well, do I save up money and, get a good system for $2,000, $1,500, whatever? Or do I buy a system for $300, $400? Right? Crowded says, more people need publicly to call out Phil Spencer for allowing the S to ruin players' experiences on the X. It's absurd at this point. I think the majority of the, you can see there's a lot less people that own an X like myself than own an S, right? The majority of the player base on Xbox owns an S, or they're playing off of Samsung TVs, or they're playing off Game Pass, they're playing off Fire Sticks, there's a lot more people that are not playing on the X than they are playing on the X. And I think, obviously, you have to go with the majority of your player base, right, Crowded? I know as the X owners, you know, you're shit out of luck. You bought an X, you can sell your X, but at the same point, let's be honest here. Gaming prices are not going down; they're going up. Okay, I just saw a report earlier this morning that even PlayStation's raising their cost overseas in China and other places where they're raising the price of the PlayStation up like $120 or something like that, $170. The PSVR 2 is going up in price. The Portal's going up in price. Okay, so that's indicative of what the market is, what's happening around the world. So people are not going to what's the word I'm looking for? They're not happy with the prices, but PlayStation has to raise their prices. Xbox is going to win in the long run because they're not selling systems. They're not selling systems. They're selling a service. They make hundreds of millions of dollars a month, billions of dollars a year doing nothing. Doing nothing. Ramsey says the 2.3 million concurrent to me seems off. It's one of the first AAA Chinese games, and China is known for juicing numbers, in my opinion. I would have interest in juicing Wukong. Sure. But can you prove it in any way, shape, or form? Now, I can see there's a dip inside the actual numbers of Wukong when people log off, okay? When they log off, you can see big dips that drop, right? Which could be, if you want to say, people that actually bought the game, Krebsy, or bots that are using the service or whatever. But regardless of what it is, you know, it still says 2.4. If you're gonna look at this number and say that this is not good, then I guess you have to take everything off of face value, right? You got to take PUBG's away and League of Legends and any other game that's been successful anywhere. Because to say that China boosts their numbers, to say that other people don't juice their numbers, do you know what I mean? Unless you actually have physical proof to show, like, this is what's happening, I mean, you got to go with what you see. And we go with what we see. If people are going to upscale and use Steam as the numbers of, well, this means it's a popular game, then you also have to use it for when it's not popular as well. Ron says, I bought the Gollum game for $5. Worst game ever made. For $5? Is it the worst game ever made for $5? Or is it just the worst game ever regardless of the price? Carter says, I still don't get why the consoles are getting such poor performance in Black Myth, since you can just run it at 1080p medium on 3060 with DLSS and it hits 60 and then run FG to gain another 40. It's the way they optimize it. That's it. It's the way they optimize it. Steam reaches 37.2 million concurrent players for the first time thanks to Black Myth Wukong. That's total Steam concurrent players on Steam. Yeah, but only 2.4 of that of the 37. I don't like numbers like that, Stealth. You know what I mean? It's like, that's just such an absurd number. They're like, yeah, that's the first time you ever reached 37.242. Okay, without Black Myth, was that the first time you ever hit 35 million, 0.4? And that was that because of whatever reason? I mean, we could actually take that number and go, well, Steam reached the 242,724. Well, that's 700 people right there. The only reason to hit that number because of Concord. I mean, that's a little ridiculous, isn't it? Anchamayo says, yeah, it doesn't matter where your fan base is coming from. Yeah. As long as it's actual physical sales and the company's like, yeah, we sold 10 million copies. I as a gamer, don't care where their money comes from. I, as the gamer, only care if I'm having fun with the game and the game works as I gave them money. I don't give a shit what the studio has or what it makes or what numbers, right? As long as the game that I purchased works on the system that I have, if it's PC, console, mobile, whatever. I give you money, you give me product. Argus says, the point in bringing up the China stuff is not because it matters where the sales come from necessarily. It's that they do not usually show up this way for other games, and the game would not be as, or as is what you're saying, successful had they not done so. Well, sure. Well, then that goes into a completely different conversation, though, right? This is why we talk about numbers in the movie industry being inflated, because certain people buy tickets. They give out tickets at radio stations. They buy like certain theaters to raise the money up, right? To make the movie look like it's more popular. We know that happens. Could be happening here as well, but there's no way to prove it. Now, there is a way to prove it in the movie industry, because when someone says a movie's popular, like they did back in the day in 2019 when Captain Marvel came out, and then you went to the theaters and they were as empty as Borderlands, okay, and yet it broke $1 billion, it makes you wonder, especially since the sequel of the Marvels came out, which is the sequel to the Captain Marvel, and yet nobody went to go see it as one of the worst Marvel films in the existence of Marvel, right? So, right, there's ways to prove certain things and there's ways isn't, right? So if there's a way to prove that Wukong is inflating their numbers, I'm more than glad to listen. Until that time happens, we can't. Crowd says the difference is Anthem was a good game that lacked content, and they didn't even know what they were doing during the development. Concord actually planned all of this. 8 years. 8 years, Crowded. Mo said, what's going on, Mo? My experience isn't ruined at all. Don't know what you mean by that. For who are you talking to, Mo? Oh, you're talking about the PC, for PC. I got you. Ron Slusher says, Concord, Skull and Bones, Star Wars Outlaws. Who will win the worst game of the year award? I mean, if you go by numbers, I think you would have to go to Concord. Because there's way more people playing Skull and Bones and way more people playing Star Wars Outlaws. As of right now. What's going on, Z? Everyone in the chat, if they had a $3,000 to spend on a PC, would probably love to do it. Unfortunately, most general gamers would never spend that money if they have it in an expensive game rig. That's right. Absolutely right there, Z. Everybody says, then the game goes from 2.3 million down to 200,000 in the matter of 7 hours. I also find it odd since the single-player game from a new developer. Sure. But if more people are buying it, let's just put it in this perspective here. If more people are buying it over in China, okay, they're many hours ahead of us, okay, many hours ahead of us over here in the States. So when they get to midnight or whatever time that is and they log out to go to sleep, that would be the drop, right? So if it was, 2.1 million of them love it, then they go offline, that would be why it's dropping that big. Which makes sense. Chinese mythology being popular in China compared to Chinese mythology not being popular in the United States. Yeah, we're going to do the... I'm going to talk about Star Wars Outlaws in just a little bit, William. Brain says, "This is. This is a Chinese mythology game first. The Chinese also have something like this. Of course, they're supporting it. Why wouldn't they? Maybe they're tired of playing mobile games at all. Right. So I have a question. We're okay with what was the MMO that came out? Lost Ark. We're okay with all these Final Fantasy games and all these other things that are popular in Korea and all these other places. But now all of a sudden there's one game that's popular, and we're like, game's a little dodgy. Seems a little dodgy. Robert Jones says, isn't it a good sign that China is buying a non-pay-to-win game in masses? Right? If anything, Jones, right? I don't think China would want to promote that. They'd be like, stop it. Stop it. We have to go to these microtransactions. There's nothing more to it, though, Sarge. Krebsy put it in Discord. It was one developer talking about how he didn't like working with his specific opinion about not working with the Xbox Series S. And I don't know why. I don't know why the article got removed, because the guy's tweet stayed up. So he wasn't trying to hide anything. Apparently something was wrong with the article, and the article got removed. East Vandal says, I want to learn more about the Xbox authorization process. I think it's a great thing that Xbox keeps broken, buggy messes like Wukong off the Xbox until the devs fix the game. It would have been awesome if they kept that same energy level for Redfall, wouldn't it, Vandal? Wouldn't it be great if they kept that same level for Redfall? It would have been great. Or the same standard for Gollum, King Kong, and also the Walking Dead game. Trying to catch up here with chat. East Vandal says, no memory leaks in those games. You're absolutely right. There was no memory leaks in those games. It just wasn't a complete game. You're right. There wasn't a memory leak. There just was an incomplete game. Redfall was literally incomplete when it came out. Gollum was literally a broken, buggy mess. But you're right. No memory leak. But it passed the standards. So the standards for Xbox was no memory leak. Good to go. Tarnish says, now 30, the PlayStation 5 performance patch will take a while to come out, if ever, because the game science confirmed that the PlayStation 5 is bottlenecking Wukong. Here's the reason, Tarnish, I say don't pre-order games ever, okay? Because, one, most sales happen before the game even comes out, which is pre-orders, or day one, before people even look at game reviews or anything like that. That's the majority of the people that buy the game. So those people that are going to buy the game, majority of them don't care about reviews. They're buying the game ahead of time. Okay, when a game company like Black Myth now, or a game science, makes a game like Black Myth, regardless of how many people love the game on PlayStation, the game is not working on PC. Reverse that. People that love it on PC, but the people on PlayStation are having problems, okay, with it, that they made 10 million copies sold, okay, across all platforms. They can look at it and go, well, we made our money. See you later. Right now, I'm not saying that game science is going to do that, but shows people, okay, that this is what they did. They bought the game before it's even proven that it works, and we don't really have to fix it because we've made our money. They don't have to go back and fix anything. This is the problem I have with the video game industry, okay? People pay extra money now to play 3 days early access. They play extra to whatever, and the game comes out, and those people that get it day one, okay, have to wait 3 extra days for day one patch. If the patch fixes that stuff, or they have to wait a week, or they have to wait a month, or they have to wait whatever. And that is the problem with the video game industry. Take the title out of it, whatever title it is. I don't care what game it is. They all do the same thing. They release the game 3 days early, 4 days early. Game comes out, memory leak, broken, buggy, unfinished, stuttering. And yet people paid double the price, okay, of an actual game to get it early, and then they have to wait for day one patch, and then they have to wait a week, a month, or whatever. Waterbear says, here's my stance on it. If you're enjoying your game, just play it. It's your money. Spend it how you want. What we need to, though, is understand that we are individual gamers, and we just hate incomplete games. And that's where I stand, Water. You guys know me. You guys watch me long enough. I don't shit on games, just shit on games. I shit on companies that put the games out that are broke, buggy, and unfinished. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. I had an issue with the water line, so I had to go shut it off. All right, what we were talking about. Krebsy's having problems with the chat. Brandon says the huge budget, AAA budgets that are causing the problems of the non-sustainable and failable or catastrophic. East Vandal says, write your legislators. In other industries, it's okay for a company to sell consumer knowingly broken products. Write your legislators. Absolutely correct. Right? Absolutely correct. Right? Because that's the problem. If someone can get away making a bad product or unfinished product, that's not good. As much as we love video games, right? As much as I and you love video games, there's games that are coming out that are incomplete, and they're asking for full price for that. More than full price. More than full price. Let's go on, Super Dave. All right, so let's move on over from... Do you guys want to talk about Star Wars next? My thoughts on Star Wars? Or do you guys want to talk about Concord? Travis says Star Wars. Anchemaya says thoughts. Star Wars. On Star Wars. All right, cool. Now, I haven't read this yet, right? I haven't read this yet. Those of you that are new to my channel right now, we read news stories and have conversations about stuff. Before I read this, I want to give you my thoughts I haven't watched any reviews. No reviews of Star Wars Outlaws. I played it last night on my stream. You can go watch me. I have about 5 hours of gameplay on stream. I had a good time. Just straight up, I was having a good time with it. Okay? So before we get to this, I'm just going to give you my thoughts about what I think the good and bad so far of 5 hours inside of Star Wars Outlaws. Okay? I try not to let anyone else persuade me in any way, shape, or form. We watched the before the game came out, and I gave you my thoughts of what type of game it would be. I said last year, I said it'll probably be reminded me of like a Red Dead Redemption open world type of, Western type of thing, but in the Star Wars universe. As it got closer, I said it reminded me more of the Hogwarts Legacy type of open world, And as we played that, I settle more on that than Uncharted type of stuff. But if you like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We just give our thoughts, have conversations with live chat. Live chat is 1,000% part of the show. I bring people's chat up on the screen, interact with everybody, member, non-member. So if you're entertained, just trying to get you through partial of your day for 2 hours or so. So make sure you hit all the things. All right. So Star Wars Outlaws, we started playing last night, and my biggest gripe is not with the character not looking like the actress. My biggest gripe with the game is that the protagonist, the modeling of the character, okay, is that it changes on a whim, okay? And I truly mean this. It has nothing to do with how good looking she is as far as like, do I want to bang her? Okay, it's about how much she looks like a person. In one scene, she looks great. In the next scene, and I'm talking about just in-game, not cutscenes, okay, just in-game, okay? In one scene, she looks great. In the next scene, she looks like it's that Jerry Seinfeld episode. If you guys are too young and don't know what Jerry Seinfeld is, there was a show, there was an episode of this woman who would step in a certain light, and she looked gorgeous. And then she stepped in another light, and she looked hideous. And you're like, ugh, like, what is happening? And it makes no sense to me because all the other characters that you're interacting with, their facial animations look good. They look great. They look fine. There's nothing wrong with them. They're smooth. Her face changes as the wind, okay? And it's just weird to me. Like the hair all of a sudden starts to mess around. It looks shitty in one scene and then it looks fine in the next. I don't know what they did to Kay Vess, okay? That is like my biggest inconsistent with the game in the first 5 hours that I've seen so far. Now, is it a big deal? Is it breaking my immersion from the game? No, because most of the time you're staring at her back end, okay? And you're not really seeing her face. Now, in the cutscenes, when there are cutscenes, it looks fine. It looks 10 times better than it does in the in-game cutscenes, right? The in-game cutscenes look worse than the pre-generated cutscenes for the stuff like the movie stuff. That looks fine. Okay. We are playing on performance mode on there, so we're not playing on quality mode. Maybe tonight when I play, I'll put it on quality mode. We're playing by the 20x9 cinematic mode because I like to play games when if that's the default, I keep everything on default because the artist made the game, and obviously as the gamer you can change it to how you prefer to actually play the game. But I want to see what the artists that make the game want me to play the game at, so I leave it as is. Okay, so that's what we're playing at. We're playing at the 21x9, and I really like that. I'm a cinematic guy. I'm a movie guy. I really like the wider aspect ratio. I put it on full screen. It looks weird to me. It's like a pan and scan type of thing. So I'd rather have the wider version. So that's what I'm playing at. The controls in the game. The vehicle, we haven't flown the plane yet, or the ship yet. We have the bike, and we have, the walking and whatnot. Let's start with the walking. When you're walking, like when you saw the previews and stuff like that, anytime you're in a inside docile type of place, you walk slow, okay? Like the bars, anything like that, the city, you're walking slow. There are moments that you can come out and then you can like sprint faster and whatnot. That's fine, but they kind of like slow you down. And to me, it's just a little bit too slow. But at the same time, I understand why they're doing it because they kind of want to immerse you in that Star Wars world. Okay, so the controls there are fine. I wish I could speed up a little bit. They gave options for other things. They should give options where I don't have to walk super slow through the thing. Minute problem. Okay, the vehicle itself, the little bike that you ride, is horrible in the beginning. Now, as I compared it to Hogwarts Legacy, the broom that you flew in Hogwarts Legacy was freaking horrible as well. Very touchy, doing all this stuff. Okay, but as you upgrade the broom, it becomes better. So I haven't upgraded the bike yet. I'm assuming as you upgrade the bike, it's going to become better, faster, more controllable, and it's going to feel better, so you feel like you're progressing through the thing. So I can't really say that it's crap, but right now in the beginning of the first 5 hours of the game, it doesn't seem very good. Okay. The actual Trailblazer, like I said, I haven't really flown it. It was like a cutscene, crash landed, and then we're at the first section. So I really can't say too much about like the dog fighting or anything like that. I can't say anything of it because I haven't played it myself. Some of the things that bug me in the game is that the map. I like the map, but I hate there's no mini map. Okay, I hate that I have to back out, look at the map, see where I'm going. I like that there's no dotted line to tell me where to go. Now maybe there's an option in there. That's a personal thing. I don't like. I mean, it shows me the yellow dot, and I can go towards it, but there's no breadcrumb trail, so I like that. And if there was a breadcrumb trail, if you could remove it or add it for people, great. Puzzles in the game, as far as jumping puzzles and stuff like that, just basic. Feels good. The controls to interact with, like, ladders or certain things, you have to push in on the right, or R3, like the right analog stick. It's a little weird when you're picking up stuff. You get used to it. You're picking up a bunch of, things off the ground. You can hit R3. Sometimes your brain, because you're playing other games, you hit A. That's not a big deal either. So I'm okay with that. The rhythm puzzle game. Okay. Now, the problem with the rhythm puzzle game, I know I'm a shitty gamer. Okay. But the problem with the game is that it's tacked on to this. Okay. Now, I was playing on just normal difficulty. And the rhythm game, you would see the light pop up, and it would go beep, 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 and it would do different patterns or whatnot. And when you're hitting it, you're doing this, and it's a full trigger press, right? So when you do it, you're missing the beat. Now, maybe it was just me, okay? Maybe it was just me, but I wish I could remap it just to the button. I just want to hit a button, okay? It would work a lot better. Now, I lowered it after about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Maybe it was 3 hours. I lowered it to easy mode. Obviously, it's much easy. People saying that you can actually just shut it off completely, so it just auto-completes. I haven't even looked into that much. But that rhythm game was an issue for me. I'm not going to deduct things, be like, it's a shit game because of a puzzle. Maybe it was me, but I put it on journalist mode, and now I can just do it real fast. The other game is just matching, right? So when you have to slice a door or anything like that, it has 4 symbols, and the 4 symbols is pretty simple, right? If it doesn't work, it's an X. If it works, but it's out of order, it's yellow, and if it's in the right spot, it's blue, okay? That was fine. Those are fun. Again, I'm 5 hours in. I feel like if I'm 17, 20, 30 hours, 40 hours in, those could become a little bit, like, repetitive and just annoying. But overall, I think, did you say journalist mode? I did. I put it on the trigger to open up the doors much easier now. As far as the puzzles, I can see that getting old real fast after about 10 hours or so. Okay. So I hope it changes up and it's not the exact same thing. Again, I'm only 5.5 hours in. Dialogue and stuff, I feel is fine. I'm okay with the dialogue. I'm okay with the cutscenes. I love Massive on how they make worlds. I do. Division 1, Division 2. Massive is so good at decorating the sets, as decorating the levels. They make it feel so good to walk through there. So if you're a Star Wars fan, just like Hogwarts did a really good job, Avalanche did such a good job in that world of Hogwarts and running around Hogwarts Castle or the villages, the attention to detail is amazing. We did come across some of the characters being used right next to each other. There was like 2 twins that they weren't twins, but the same character model next to each other. That's a no-no. They should fix that because that pops out like a sore thumb. That's like Bethesda type of mistakes. But the actual decorating of the cities, the world, it's amazing the way they do certain things. Okay, it makes you feel like you really want to be inside that world. Okay. Yeah. So maps. Another bad point: NPCs are dumb as toast. Dumb as toast. Okay. So that you could we run and gun. It's a lot stealthy, but run and gunning is a thing you can do. You can get spotted by one person that's got not talking to anybody, and all of a sudden everyone knows where you are. I took a shot at something from a distance, and everyone knew I was behind this one place. I was like, how did they know I was there? So no one was paying attention. All of a sudden the thing blew up, but they knew where I was. You can sneak by real guys like real close, and they don't detect you. So there's a lot of like NPCs are dumb. Okay, hopefully, maybe because I'm early on in the game, they don't get better, or maybe they get better, but I don't think they will. What else? I do like the upgrades. Now, the upgrades, it feels like right now, 5.5 hours into the game, like leveling up your guns or leveling up your bike or leveling up your stuff feels like important. I don't know if it is, but as I'm going through the game, you're picking up junk, you're picking up different resources. There's reasons to go to outposts and go to the Imperials stations to get materials so you can upgrade your weapons, right? So I'm assuming you can do it as easy or as hard as you want based on if you just take missions and they send you to the places to get those things, or if you're traveling open world, find different stations and happen to come across those materials to upgrade your weapons faster. But I do like that there's a lot of upgrades for the Trailblazer, for your weapons, your outfits that you find, your guns. There's different modes for that. It seems like those things get better over time, but again, 5.5 hours in. I like your companion, Nyx. Nyx to me is a cool addition, but at the same time, there's certain things that, like, I'm next to a vent, I could just open the vent, or I could tell him to open the vent. And it just feels like certain situations, I'm like, I don't really need him. But then there's other situations where it's really cool. Like if there's two guys, you can send him to distract one while you take another one out. Or you can just make him attack, or he can steal things for you. So if you can't get somewhere, but you want that thing, you can just send him to get it and he brings it back to you. So I like stuff like that. Now, as far as combat, on normal difficulty, when I'm shooting the gun, I'm shooting people in the face. Maybe this is just a personal opinion, but a laser to the face should be a one headshot kill, especially when they're not wearing any kind of armor on their face. I shoot you in the face, you should be dead. Okay, I get it, video game and whatnot, cool. But it's just a little, it breaks that immersion for me a little bit, right? I think you can take like 3 or 4 shots and then you're dead. Other than that, the stealth is good, but not great. It's passable, but I didn't know this game was like a full stealth game, and it's a 100% full stealth game, and it doesn't do stealth very well for a full stealth game. We're not talking like Siphon Filter. We're not talking about Sam Fisher and Splinter Cell sneakiness here. This is very like, as the character itself doesn't really know what she's doing. That's what it feels like the developers did with the sneaking mechanic in this. Like, the mechanic of shooting feels good, doesn't feel great. The stealth feels good, but it doesn't feel great. It feels to me, again, within the 5 hours of playing, it feels like they worked on it, and they were like, that's a good point. Let's stop here and let's just work on that, right? And not try to make it better. It doesn't really do anything great. It just kind of does it good, okay? And again, good doesn't mean shit. Good means good, okay? So overall, I've been on 2 planets. I've been in multiple cities. I like the banter, the listening to the characters in the world. The world building is great that Massive has done. The game itself feels good. Doesn't feel great so far, 5 hours in. But I think if you are a Star Wars fan, if you're looking for a game, I would think this is the game for you. Now, saying that, I don't recommend getting this game for what I played in the 5.5 hours, paying full price for it. Maybe full price, meaning $70. I would not get it 3-day early access. I would not get it early access, 2 days, 3 days early. Like right now, if you're excited to get it, wait till Friday. Get it on Friday. Pay your $70. Do not pay $110. Do not pay $130. Okay. If you're a huge Star Wars fan, you must get it. Wait until actual day one, pay the $70 and enjoy the game that way. I would not. Otherwise, if you really want to play it early, pay the $18. Pay the $18 and play it. If you really want to play it, do not give this company $130, $140, whatever it is, for this game. Because, again, the game, 5 hours in, again, this is just my opinion, I think it's worth the money. I just don't think it's worth the $110, $130, $140, whatever it is, okay? It's definitely worth the $18, okay? In no way, shape, or form can I sit here and tell you that playing this game for the $18 for the month is not worth it, okay? It's $18. You're going to get 30, 40, 50 hours out of this game easily. And to say that $18 is not worth it is just stupid, okay? Anyone that tells you it's not worth it for $18 is just crazy, okay? Piece of entertainment, each for your own. $18 is well worth the price point of this. $70 if you're a Star Wars fan and you really like the game and stuff like that, if you think you would absolutely love to be in that world. But do not pay more than that. I would wait. It's going to go on sale pretty freaking fast, I would think. By the holidays, you could probably get it for $50 or $40, and I think that, you know, it'll be well worth it for that price rather than paying the $70 right now. Just my thoughts. Let me hear what you guys are thinking, what you guys seen. We'll read this article in a second about the review. Let me see what you guys are saying here. There's a couple things I'm missing, but maybe as I talk to you guys, it'll bring it back up. Let's see. Z says 30. Is there an ego in the game? Thirsting your character? No, not that I've seen so far. But I'm not super far into it. Let's see. I mean, that's accurate when the stormtroopers are so bad. I'm not even talking about the stormtroopers. We're talking about the syndicates the Pike Syndicate, the Hutts Syndicate, and also the Crimson Dawn. When they fire at you, they hit you, which is fine. But when I shoot them in the face, they're not dying. You got to shoot them like 3-4 times. Dolphin says, everyone agrees that the detection mechanics are trash. Yeah, I said this back in Wildlands. I remember playing Wildlands, and I'm in a bush in this open field with a sniper with the silencer on it, and I shoot somebody, and then everyone in that base is alerted, and they know where I'm at. And I'm like, what the hell? Same type of feeling here, okay? And then if you're detected, if you just back up like 5 feet, they're like, where'd he go? I said that last night, Paul. I said last night, after 5 hours, I said, I think Altern asked me the question. I said, modded Starfield Star Wars is a better Star Wars game than Star Wars Outlaws as of right now. Okay? Now, the difference is, I said, is if someone makes a mod where the buildings and stuff starts to look like Star Wars in Starfield, then it would overtake it 100%. But what Massive has done inside the Star Wars world, making the landscapes and the buildings and just the way they made it, it's very good as far as what Star Wars feels like, okay? It's just everything about it. The gunplay is better in Starfield than the gunplay is here, okay? If you want to compare the two. You could go loud. You could go in loud and shoot, and just waves and waves and waves of guys come. You can 100% do that. Prevzy says, I can't get immersed when I constantly think that Kay is the cockroach from Men in Black. You do fail Empire missions for going loud. So there you go. I didn't even know that because I'm not there yet. I went to 2 outposts after I went off stream yesterday just to see what they were. I snuck in, took everyone out. I didn't go in loud. I did stealth, so I haven't gone in shooting with the Imperials yet. I would say it's worth $70, Paul, for certain people. I do. If certain people love that, I think it's worth it. Every penny for them. I think for most people, though, they're looking at it going, I don't know if I like this game. I don't know what it is. I would definitely either wait or get the $18 for the month. Krebsy says 30 plus extra to play 3D early. Yeah, I would not pay that. Do not pay that. Especially since there are bugs and glitches in the game. Now, I didn't come across it. I saw some stuff online. I posted stuff in Discord. I didn't come across any major bugs or glitches. Okay? Besides running into shit. And that's on my own stupidity. But that's not really a glitch. That's just funny. All right. But because certain systems are not running it well, to pay the extra $30 for 3 days early access and then have that problem is just bullshit. Roadkill says, what's going on? Do not buy Star Wars Outlaws. Get a free $18 bought it on what is that? I bought it on the retard. I mean, you can buy it, but you can play it just as much. I would have waited the 3 extra days. But you do with your money. You do what you want with your money. Solomon says, $18 gets you the Ultimate Edition, by the way. Ubi Plus offers the largest edition for the games for download on that sub. Right, and even if I decide to buy it later, right? Even if I decide to buy it later, I stop playing after this month. Down the road, it comes out. It goes on sale. I pick it up. If it was like $40, $50, I'm paying the exact same price you paid, but now I get a complete game. Right? And I didn't spend as much money. And if I want to play it again, I could pay another $18, and it gets $36. That's $36 total, which is still cheaper than you would if you buy it full price. What's going on, Drummerman? Waterbear says 30. You bought it back, man, when you said Siphon Filter. The game was awesome, and that was a really good, sneaky game type of stuff. What's going on, Trey? I started playing this morning at 6. It lasted 1 hour and went back to Wukong. And you paid full price $120, Roadkill. Just saying. You bought both games. You paid full price. And if you're not going to play Star Wars in the first 3-day early access, then why pay for it? I started playing last night because I flew to New Zealand. Yeah, you could already preload it and play it now everywhere after midnight last night. So. Krabby says, I wonder what Outlaws could have been if it was a 5-year development instead of 3. Well, you know what's funny? There was... I don't know if I have it here. I saw an article. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Where was it? So this is a Reddit post. Now, I don't know if it's real or not. Let me see. I think it's fan-made art. I'm not gonna put it in there, but basically, I used it in the thumbnail because I'll show you. They said that Star Wars Outlaws was supposed to have a male lead. Ubisoft changed that to appease Disney. Now, again, I don't know if this is concept art and they changed it, or if it's AI art or whatever, but I don't really think it matters if the character is K-Vess or if it's another unknown character. Now, I do think that this game would sell much better if it was the adventures of Han Solo after Return of the Jedi, right? Because this takes place, or after Empire Strikes Back, right? Because this takes place between Empire and Return of the Jedi. I think this game would have been a much better sell if it was Han Solo and Chewie that you were on an adventure with. You can say what you want, like you don't want to do that, but this takes place during that time frame. Now, obviously, they show Lando and stuff in the DLC pack that comes later down the road. Would it be a better game? I don't know if it would be a better game. For what I played for five hours, if I was Han Solo and Chewbacca instead of K-Vess and Nix, is it a better game? I don't think it is because of what the mechanics are in the game. You know what I mean? Because if I was Han Solo, I wouldn't want to be sneaking around. I'd be going guns blazing type of stuff. I think there's certain missions that you could, like, knock a stormtrooper out, disguise yourself as an officer or something, and then go in, that way. But I don't know if it would make it a better game if it was like a Han Solo game. I don't think the game is bad because K-Vess is the character. I don't think the game is bad because the character is not, the greatest looking model. And I'm not talking about the actress. I'm talking about the physical model that's in the game. There's just something off about it. But overall, I think the game is fine. It's the mechanics and stuff that are in the game that are not flushed out. So I think if they had more time with the game, every time I'm playing this game, I'm thinking, because remember when we first didn't know about the game, but we knew that Massive was making a game. And the first thing that went to my head was Division would be like the Bad Batch, and you're the clone troopers in a Division setting type of thing, where your guns blazing, going on missions and stuff like that. That's the game I thought originally were happening. Now, when they first showed, Outlaws, I thought it was like an action-packed game. I didn't know it was a stealth game. East Vandal says, how are the planetary load screens, Mike? Since gamers seem to be very concerned about these days. The one load screen that we had was just a cutscene. Like, we got in the ship went through the thing, it went up into the atmosphere, and then it was a cutscene, and then it came down, crashed down. So that was the only one cutscene that I've seen so far. We did try, Vandal. We got on the bike and we drove as fast as we could to get to the border, because that's what people do, right? We got to the border. I don't see any articles reporting that the border is really tiny, but we hit the edge really fast. B says, Outlaws has a good premise, but I wonder if Star Wars IP needs a shakeup in the gameplay, i.e. roguelike, or card tactics like Midnight Suns. What about a Diablo looter type? I see what you're saying there. Maybe. But do you do it in that theme, though? All right, B, I have a question for you. Do you take that and make a roguelike, but do you make it in new Star Wars? Like, after the original trilogy? Do you make it during the original trilogy? Right? Like, I can see, again, like tactical, like Midnight Suns. I would like to do that, but in the original trilogy, or maybe the prequels. Okay? I don't know if I care about if it's like after Return of the Jedi type of thing. But a Diablo looter type game, I can see also, like the Bad Batch type of thing, or the Clone Wars. I don't really see like a Diablo looter style, like if you're doing like I'm Obi-Wan and you're Luke Skywalker and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Maybe set in a different era. I can see it. It would. The genre of game would have to fit the era that it's set in, if that makes sense. Robert Jones says, you guys are free to do whatever you will with your money besides pre-ordering and pay to win. There's a public shaming here for that. There's no... I never public shame anybody, Robert Jones. You can spend your money how you want. Here's what I don't like. That when I tell people what the game's going to be, and then they pre-order the game, and then they come in and complain about it. That's what I hate. Because it's like, I've been saying it, and then someone does it, and then comes in and goes, well, the game's broke and buggy. Okay. Get in the back of the line, because I don't give a shit at that point. Right? You're more than welcome to spend your money how you want. 1,000%. Just don't come in here and bitch about it after you purchase it and the game is broke, buggy, and unfinished. Waterbear says, 30, so grading scale after 5 hours, what are you giving it? I'm giving it that I'm going to go back and play it because I'm enjoying myself. Right? I'm enjoying my time in the game. And I would like to kind of continue playing the game. Sorry. Estelle says, 30, can I know why the hell PlayStation 5 doesn't have Ubisoft Plus? Seems very dumb. I'm not sure. I don't have an answer for you. Who are you talking about, Kylo? Bro was telling us about all these bugs and how it's nothing special, but still have an 8. Somebody doesn't want to lose his review privileges. Maybe he got one for Disney trips. Who are you talking about? I agree, Krebsy. I agree. To see a game, can you imagine? Just take instead of 5 planets, just imagine instead of Washington D.C., it's Coruscant, and your group of clone troopers trying to do missions inside the city, right? Z says Han Solo would just close his eyes, turn his head, and shoot down a hallway. Be as stupid in the game. Akuta Papa says, 30, this game needed more development, and Concord needed less development. At this point, I don't care if Star Wars games are set. Just make it feel, make it so that the gameplay can speak for itself and doesn't need a Star Wars skin to be the only selling point for the game. Roadkill says, yeah, I didn't run into any bugs or glitches. I put about 8 gigs, 8 gig before I played it this morning to update. Yeah, PlayStation doesn't have a Ubisoft Plus, or else I would have done it that way. Oh, you're talking about, I think, Kirk. Kirk is what you're talking about. Who you're talking about. I don't think the game is I don't think the game is a bad game. I would say I think IGN or 7GN gave it a 7. I think 7's a good point. Like, again, I'm 5 hours in. As I play, like, we'll play more tonight. We'll play another 4 hours tonight, 5 hours tonight. And I'll keep giving you my thoughts. 100% it could change as we're playing. But as of right now, I give you guys my honest opinion about it. I try not to get persuaded by other people, because now I'm going to read a review, an article on Star Wars, and see what they talk about it. All right, so let's talk about this. Okay, it says Star Wars Outlaws review a galaxy of potential in an uneven Star Wars saga. Okay. Now, walking out of the cantina and coming across some of the arcade cabinets in the rundown bar. Oh, that's another thing. They had arcade cabinets. It's cool. You can play video games in the game. You can play Sabacc in the game, which is like Gwent type of stuff. There's little things like that. It's cool. Okay, I didn't think it was like, oh my god, but it's cool. More immersive stuff inside the world. Slowly riding my speeder through the vast dunes of Tatooine. These small, quiet moments of Star Wars Outlaws are the ones that stick with me the most. It says, while some of the games like Star Wars Jedi Survivor have filtered with open-ended areas of Star Wars Outlaws' most explicitly open-world Star Wars game, yet it is at its best when it leans into those sandbox elements. It's a fun manipulating your relationships with factions, switching sides when it benefits you, and thrilling to explore several well-realized plans, including one that from the movies that didn't do them justice, okay, in The Rise of Skywalker, which is that stupid planet they went to. There's also Star Wars Outlaws started to falter more than when it narrows itself down. The combat narrative, the linear missions have also their moments, but aren't nearly as engaging as a Star Wars Outlaws lets players loose in the sandbox. That leaves me conflicted about the ultimately uneven, though enjoyable Star Wars game. It's worth playing if you like the idea of living in a smuggler's fantasy in the open world Star Wars sandbox. And I agree with that 100%. I think if you literally want to live in the Star Wars universe and play a Star Wars game, then this is a game that you would be more than happy with your purchase, okay? Or subscription fee, okay? It says, if you're planning on the main story missions, though, it's not nearly as polished as its more linear peers. But don't ignore Star Wars Outlaws' smaller moments where the heart is, okay? Scum and Villainy. Star Wars Outlaws follows a smuggler named K-Vess and assembles a crew across several different planets to pull the heist against one of the wealthiest men in Cantobite. I've only met one person so far, so I don't even know. Like most heist-based narratives, it's full of twists, betrayals, and surprising alliances. K-Vess is also a strong central character backed by a fantastic performance by Humberly Gonzalez, and the matches the charisma of Aiden Anderson's take on Han Solo. I do like Humberly's performance so far as K-Vess. I think K-Vess itself, or herself, is a fun character. Like, she's doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. She's flying by the seat of her pants. She's a green, brand new smuggler trying to make it in this thing, and she's, you are controlling her. I thought it was fine so far. Okay. Kay is a naive, but also universe also hasn't seen from Star Wars protagonists before. That makes sense when they encounters characters like Jabba the Hutt. More interesting because I wasn't quite sure how Kay would react to play the situation. Unfortunately, Star Wars Outlaws is let down by the fact that the rest of the ensemble isn't as strong. I enjoy the droid, ND5, Animal sidekick Nix, and Kay's primary companions because they get the most screen time and dedicated scenes together. One where Kay and Nix eat food together and particularly stands out. Okay, Outlaws rushes its introductions of most of the side characters, acting as it should already know who they are and just worry about getting to know them later, and hurts because Outlaws ultimately building towards an ensemble story. Some of the late game betrayals didn't impact me much because I never felt like it was truly new with the characters involved. Now, here's where I think the season pass hurts this, okay? And this is why I think a lot of people are talking about it's an incomplete game. I think it's an incomplete game because they chopped up the game so they could sell you season passes, and they want to sell you season passes because they want you to come to Ubisoft Plus. Remember, regardless if you're paying the $70, $110, or $130 versions, Ubisoft really was trying to push people like myself to get the $18. I get the $18. I've already canceled my Ubisoft Plus. I got it yesterday, and I canceled it yesterday to make sure they don't charge me next month. All right, so if you're going to do that, make sure you do that same thing. Unless you don't care, by all means, then continue to pay $18. Okay, but I think that is the problem. What they just said here is that you never get to know the side characters. You never get to know the other protagonists in the game because it just feels like moving towards the ensemble cast, but they never get there. And I think they never get there because it's like a hard stop. It's sort of like when you're watching a show on Netflix or Amazon Prime or any of these shows that have season 1, and they slowly build up these characters, and then season 1 ends, and then you got to wait 2 years before season 2 comes out. Sorry, Acolyte, you're not going to have that opportunity. But for this, now you have to wait the season pass. So whenever first episode comes out, then you have to play that. Maybe it'll flush out the story a little bit more. Then you got to wait for the second content piece to come out, and maybe it'll flush out. But again, you don't know, okay? And this is why we don't know if it's worth the season pass. The price of the game is $70, but you're not getting that $70 up front. You're getting a small portion of the game, which feels, a lot of people are saying, incomplete. You're not knowing the characters. Well, if you pay $110 or $130, you're getting the full story, but you're also not getting the full story because you have to wait 6 months, 9 months, 12 months for the complete story to come out. That's another problem with the industry, okay? Complete the story that you're telling. Flush out the characters that you're telling. Then add DLC on top of that. At the end of the main story, if your characters are not flushed out, then you didn't do a very good job. Okay? It says, while Star Wars Outlaws doesn't escape the Rebels versus Empire narrative cliche, the most Star Wars media set in this era is at least skirts way through being a Jedi-focused story, which is refreshing. K-Vest certainly earns a spot of the iconic Star Wars characters, but the narrative overhaul doesn't reach the heights of the Disney-era Star Wars grants like Star Wars Jedi Survivor and Andor. Could be a good thing or a bad thing. It all depends on what side of the fence you're on with Disney Star Wars. It says, this is where the fun begins. Now, Star Wars Outlaws, the better story moments are the ones that you also make for yourself. It gets good after 100 hours. It's about the friends you make along the way. Okay? In the open world game, after all the remember of the accidentally hit a stormtrooper with a speeder randomly stumbling on Lando in the casino, or more than any of the main story set pieces, this is because the world design and minigames of Star Wars Outlaws are the game's greatest strengths. Even love to lockpicking and hacking minigames, which are a rarity in the style of games. It says other minigames like Setback are equal entertaining. Pulling off contracts and other side quests and syndicates leads to great immersion moments. And I got caught right as I planted a spying device in a territory of syndicate that liked me. Now later, I made it to a cargo drop-off point in the orbit in seconds to spare and thrilling moments, and those were all well of the Star Wars fantasy more than anything. And I think those moments, which I haven't experienced for myself yet, but I think those moments could be fun, right? Just like when you play Skyrim or you play Grand Theft Auto, right? Like going around, blowing up cars and stuff like that. That makes it fun for the person that's playing the game. And again, gaming is supposed to be fun. So if you're having fun with the game, then who cares what I'm saying or what anyone else is saying or what people are paying for it, right? If you play a game and you enjoy a game, then fucking enjoy it, okay? That feeling extends to the actual stars. In addition to shooting on the ground, players get the pilot the starship as well, and even a blast of another ship. The sky combat is simply yet very, very polished, and vistas around the planets are a lot more interesting in those games like No Man's Sky or Starfield. It's kind of an outer space experience as so many studios that have dreamed of, but I brought to life in the context of Star Wars. I think that context that he's talking about there, I've talked about a lot on this channel. Like, if you like a game like The First Descendant, but The First Descendant is themed thematically of a IP that you like, it's going to be a better game for you, right? If Assassin's Creed, Star Wars is like Assassin's Creed, but you're not really big on Assassin's Creed, but you like Star Wars Outlaws, and basically it's an Assassin's Creed type of game, then you might like that type of game better, right? It all depends on what the IP is and the context of it is. It says Outlaws' progression system is built around the curiosity and exploration as it encourages players to dynamically find experts across the planet and complete gameplay objectives in the gain new abilities at your leisure. This is something we came across last night. One of the bartenders, if you do certain things like take silent takedowns or distracted takedowns of certain people, you unlock new abilities. And there's like 12 or 16 characters that you can find within the world. And if you complete their objectives, then you unlock new skills. Now, we unlocked one new skill yesterday, which I thought was pretty interesting. Again, I don't know what the overall picture is, like if you really need all that stuff, or it's more of like a completionist thing, but we'll find out as we play. It says they also pair with the syndicate relationship system, and Kay's action is all gained in law and loses her favor with the Pikes, Hutts, Crimson Dawn, and also these systems don't tie in with the main story as much as I would like. But there's also engaging enough to toy around with it in the sandbox. If I weren't reviewing Star Wars Outlaws, I'd probably put off finishing the main story even longer than I did so, and I could also make sure to explore every nook and cranny in the universe. That's the way I play the game. I don't play just beeline main story. We played Starfield, and we played 192 hours before we even completed the main story. So it seems like I'm going to like this game in that form, like doing all the side quests, completing the game and whatnot. It says it's a fine addition to my Star Wars game collection. There's certainly a dissonance between the two parts of the game. At times, Star Wars Outlaws is quite an emergent sandbox. At others, it's frustrating linear experience with the dull Uncharted-like performing and environmental puzzles and lots of instant fail stealth sections. This style of stealth particularly has been out of fashion for Ubisoft and its own Assassin's Creed series for years, so I'm surprised so prevalent here. even then when the combat is only passable because the gunplay is a bit clunky. Well, there you go. So, see, I told you that it's not great, just good. The stealth is not great, but it's just good, and they're saying that here as well. Like Han Solo, K-Vest uses a single blaster in the battle. Star Wars Outlaws takes a page out of the Controls playbook by allowing players to upgrade and customize this blaster in a lot of different ways. Sadly, it just doesn't feel nearly as good to shoot with aggressive yet inaccurate aim assist as a general lack of impact with each shot. Thankfully, Nyx is there to give Kay even an edge in battle, and she can also attack enemies and set off some explosives in combat areas. It only goes as so far as during the fight, though that Kay is frail, so it's better to sneak rather than fight head-on. Still, even just comparing this to the other Ubisoft games, that stealth isn't as enjoyable as it is in Assassin's Creed or a Splinter Cell game, and shooting doesn't as match The Division or Far Cry. There you go. I'm glad that I just picked a random review, and they're saying the exact same thing I said. This is why I'm ultimately yearning for the version of Star Wars Outlaws that's better than it actually is. Or more accurately, I'm wishing that it was more focused on its sandbox strengths. It's stuck trying to be both Uncharted and Red Dead Redemption, but it doesn't itself disservice by also going perfected one of those approaches. I could see a great Star Wars game in stellar world design and in emergent moments and truly put this in the shoes of a smuggler anytime Star Wars Outlaws allowed me to live the fantasy. I was happy to be in orbit, but so often it left me hanging in the airlock. Yeah, it feels good, but it doesn't feel great. And now, I don't want people to look at that and say, oh, he said good. Good is good. Great is great. Great baseball players are Hall of Famers. Good baseball players are entertaining to watch, but they just don't make it to the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Like in that type of analogy. Good is good, okay? Great is great. This game is good. It's not great in the amount of time that I've put into it. I'm enjoying it. I think I will enjoy it all the way till the end. But a lot of people will probably look at that and say, he said good. You know what I mean? Which means trash. And that's not what this game is. I think this game has a lot to offer. I just don't think it's going to be hitting the marks for a lot of people. Right? So I think that's a good review to kind of, in context of what I said in my thoughts, and then reading that review, it kind of like lines up, right? He's played the entire game. I've played 5.5 hours, and I can see that my dots that I've said are going to line up basically with his, but we'll see. We'll see what happens as the game goes. Kylo says, "Oh, I forgot about they had a mission behind a paywall. No chance they don't add more of those in the future." Kyle says, so is it worth the 1-month subscription theory, or should I just keep playing Borderlands 2? I would say, if you have nothing to play, which you don't, you have Borderlands 2, Kylo, I would say continue playing Borderlands, right? Continue playing Borderlands 2, and when you're bored of whatever that game is, if you have nothing else to play, go to Star Wars. But by that time, it'll be on sale. But if you really have to play something, you're like, I got an itch, I want to play something, you could pay the $18, but again, I don't think it's going to scratch your specific itch. I think you're better off playing the Borderlands 2. Crew Papa says, Kylo, it's worth the 18, but you'll have more fun with Borderlands 2. I agree. Sarge says the same thing. By the time you finish Borderlands, Outlaws will be on sale. Yeah. Well, let's see what you guys are saying. Waterbear says, well, if you can fight back to right, thing is in the game, you can also get overwhelmed, right? For what are you talking about, Water? Oh, that's because AC can fight back. Oh, I got you. If you guys are liking the show, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We do live shows Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till about noon 1 o'clock. Just get you past some of your time of your day. If you're at work, you're at home, whatever. You're in between classes. I appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out with us. We do about a couple stories, go over, have a conversation with chat. It's laid back. This is not a place where I'm right, you're wrong type of thing. We're just having, I'm a nerd, you're nerds, you like games, we like games, and we just have conversations. It's like coming into my house, and we're just having conversations, bullshitting while we're having drinks. If it's water, coffee, beer, wherever you are. Crowd says you should play Borderlands 3, just skip the dialogue. I don't know if I want to play Borderlands 3. And if I do, I don't need to play it now. I haven't played it in 4 years. I don't think I need to play it right now. We're enjoying Borderlands 2. I might not play Borderlands 2 this week and play Star Wars this week just to get it through. Or I might play Borderlands 2 this week with Sarge, Kylo, and Akuda. And then play more like Friday, Saturday. I'll do some extra streams for Star Wars. Because I want to get through it, because we're on a timetable, people. We have $18 to spend here in the month of a Star Wars, and we're going to complete it. So we're going to complete it. Have the Transformer 1 popcorn buckets leaked yet? Those popcorn buckets are getting out of hand. Stealth. You see that the one I put in Discord, the big giant light for Batman? Like, what's happening? Who wants to buy a popcorn bucket and the thing is like this fucking big? You know what I mean? Like, I want to watch a movie. I don't want to have a goddamn scale model of a Batman light on my lap. You guys see this? Let me show you what this light looks like. Why does it keep? What happened? Where'd I put it? Didn't I put it in general? Yeah, you could plug it in. Got a cable to plug it in. Apparently, I can't find it in the general. Oh, here it is. Look how big that fucking thing is. Now we're just coming up with shit that we can put that we can just put popcorn in. Now we're just putting shit in. They're like, there's a hole in this. Let's put popcorn in it. It's a popcorn bucket. Excuse me, sir. Do you have a plug I can plug my light into? I really want to have the bat signal on the ceiling while I'm eating in the middle of a movie. Kuda Papa says, well, Warner Brothers has to make money somehow. Look, all I'm saying is, if you want to buy a lamp, go buy a lamp. I don't want that. You have to go watch the movie. That's going to be in your lap as you're watching the movie. It's like gigantic light. Do I have something that size? I don't know. Here, I have a trash can, right? Like, where's my seat? I gotta go sit down. This is the new Acolyte popcorn bucket. The Acolyte popcorn bucket. Yeah, someone turns on the light and it's like, shut off the fucking light. Speaking of trash cans, let's talk about Concord, shall we? So, Concord came out on Friday. Now, there was early access for it. And last week we were talking about it, how they were hiding the numbers on Steam. Okay? And then they showed the numbers on day one. Okay? And this is what we got. Okay? Now, I know what people are thinking. They're like, well, this is just Steam. This is not what PlayStation numbers are. But again, you got to think, if you're going to take the bad with the good, and you take Helldiver numbers, and you're like, look at Helldiver numbers, and people think there's like way more people playing on PlayStation, and then it came out, it was like 60-40. Okay? Maybe it's 60-40 the opposite direction. Okay? It doesn't matter which way you cut it. Okay, if it's 60% one way on PlayStation, 40% on the... It's still shit. Okay? Now, this is not saying that if you bought this game and you're playing this game, that the game is shit. Okay? This is not saying that you're a shit consumer. At least I'm not saying you're a shit consumer for purchasing this game. What I'm saying is the company suckered you into paying $40 for a game that is a free-to-play game, but should be a free-to-play game in a market of free-to-play in the genre that it is. Okay? All these other... Sarge will say it. He says, I will say it. Okay? They put this game out in a market of a free-to-play market, and yet, for some strange reason, they're shocked that nobody's playing it. Okay? Now, maybe... just maybe, there's only 697 people peak, and as of right now, there's let me refresh this just to make sure. Okay, right now there's 146 people playing the game, and maybe there's 10 times more people playing on PlayStation. Okay, 10 times more. Hell, maybe there's 50 times more. Okay, even if the game sold 1 million copies, they are so far off from making money back with this game. This game is dead on arrival. Now, it's not a dead game because, well, there's 146 people playing on PC, and 10 times that. We'll just give it to you, PlayStation. That there's 10 times. And again, this is not a shit on PlayStation thing. This is not a Xbox, PlayStation, this is better than that thing. Okay, because if you want to start doing that on day one, Redfall, what's the other one? Redfall had more concurrent users. And if there's only 1,000 people playing Redfall, that means there's 10 times the amount of people playing on Xbox, right? You got to keep the same energy level wherever you are. I said that this game, never said it was a shit game, never said it was a bad game. I said it's stupid and it's not going to make it because it's a $40 price tag in a world of free-to-play games. And correct, once again, okay, if it's because of the SBI, if it's because of the DEI or DEI, is it because of the $40 price tag? Might be a mixture of all three, but whatever it is, it's not working. It's not working, okay? So, Concord appears dead on arrival as Hero Shooter releases in less than 700 concurrent PC players. Now, who could have seen this coming? Me. Me right here. I saw it coming from day one when they showed it, and they said it's a $40 price tag. I right here. 30 NSG, 30 and Still Gaming said it from day one. Said it doesn't look like bigger or better than anything else that's out there, and they're stupid for putting it for $40 in a free-to-play world. Okay, now it's absolutely brutal indicator that such as much a creative financial misfire and the larger the game is turning out to be, Concord is finally here and almost no one cares. Okay, well, in a business realm, nobody cares. Okay, before anyone accuses the statement about being either hyperbolic or clickbait, rest assured this is anything but. After 8 years in development, a widely panned hero shooter finally released on both PlayStation 5 and PC player on August 23rd. Okay, and while its relevant data on the PlayStation 5 is currently unavailable, and it never will be available, because the only way it would be available is if PlayStation was so happy that they showed you these numbers. They would do it like Wukong did and say, hey, we have 10 million people playing the game. We got 3 million consecutive people playing. Okay, but PlayStation hasn't done that. Okay, because they don't have those numbers, and they're not going to show you their numbers, because if they showed you those numbers, then everybody else that's playing the game would say, yeah, I'm done. Okay? So let them speak with their words when they make this free-to-play in about a month. Okay? Maybe faster. Maybe faster. They will pivot real fast. Okay? Or they'll just charge more for their microtransactions. Okay? Per SteamDB, the analyst outfits that provide public data regarding the Valve-run digital storefront, and roughly 9 hours since the game's official launch, Concord has, as is writing, only managed to pull a peak concurrent player of 697. And since they wrote this, it hasn't gone up at anything past that. It's actually dropped dramatically. The number has reportedly achieved roughly 3 hours into the game's lifetime, and the game's player count stands at an even lower 579, which even lower at 146 of the time of doing this stream. Now, notably, these player counts fall significantly short of the peak concurrent player count posted by the game's beta release, made available to the players two occasions. The first being the early access preview weekend, which is the second full-on open beta, and the test version of the game still managed to pull in a max of 2,388 concurrent players. Just to put it in perspective, Marvel Rivals did 10 times that in a closed beta, and Deadlock, which is a closed beta that nobody knew was there, has also, I think, 80 times more than what this is. I think they're at like 60. I think they're at like 60,000 or 70,000 concurrent players in Deadlock. Okay. Ultimately, while objectively disappointing results by any measure, the widespread disinterest in Concord is far from unsurprising. Between Guardians of the Galaxy at home character writing and extremely passes a boring hero shooter gameplay mechanics, and the fact that it costs a minimum of $40 to play, especially when such a similar, arguably better produced titles as Fortnite, Call of Duty Warzone, and even Overwatch 2 are all free to play. They're not even talking about the other games that are free to play. Okay, there's like 7, 8, 10, 12 games out there that you can all play better than what this game is at $40. It's generally no wonder that players will also, all stripes decided to pass on PlayStation Studios' latest release. And interest, though, in fairness, though, it already seems like Concord will go down as a Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League level disaster. No. This is much, much more worse than Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Kill the Justice League actually sold like 2 million copies. I don't think this guy sold 2 million copies. And even if they did, it's only $40 instead of the $70. Okay, but given both his poor PC reception, the absolute trash in the game, and receiving from players such as surprising turn-based feels distinctly regulated in the realm of pure fantasy. And disappointing for Sony and Concord's release may be, it's not likely the company moved to acquire its developer Firewalker Studios based solely on the exception of also the debut game would also be a smash hit. Oh wait, bummer. Yeah, because they bought them. Okay, so it's very interesting that a lot of people are running in. Xbox fans are pointing, going, ha 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 ha. You had a couple games, so sit down and shut up. Okay? And PlayStation fanboys are coughing it up, going, no, it's not a bad game. It's just there's just more people playing on PlayStation 5 and they're not reporting the numbers. You also need to sit down and shut up. Okay? A bad game is a bad game. And a bad company doing a bad marketing is also a bad thing. Okay? Concord was marketed like shit. It was also in scrutiny because of the DEI, because of the SBI, because of the character models, whatever you want to call it, okay? It's also a hero shooter in a world of hero shooters 8 years too late, okay, to come into a world where they're like, our game is so good, we're going to give you, for $40, you're going to play this game. In a world of Fortnite, Apex, Valorant, Overwatch 2, the finals, what's the other ones that just came out? What's the other one? The X Defiant. There's another one. Oh, Marvel Rivals is coming out, right? To be so blind and retarded as a company going, you know what? $40, what it is. $40 for Helldivers is a completely different landscape. There's no other game like Helldivers out there right now, and they can do that, okay? And then here we are with this game. It's just like every other game, but more confusing, by the way, if you know what you can do in the game, okay? For $40, and it's just asinine, okay, to think that this game would be successful in any way, shape, or form. I love how PlayStation fans say, well, Xbox guys don't buy games. Well, how's that working out for you? How's that working out for you, PlayStation? It looks like PlayStation fans don't buy their own games either, even if they are $40, okay? So, here's my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. We're going to continue talking about Concord. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. Akuta Papa says Deadlock peaked at 89,000. Concurrent players are 72,000. Oh, here's another bullshit that they've done. They've removed the LGBTQ plus action. Okay. It's no longer there. They really love you guys. They support you all. They're there for you. Oh wait, we got to pull that down because it's hurting us. Scream from the rooftops. We support you. This is what it is. It's a game for everybody. But yet they're the same people that pulled it down because, well, it's turning game sales. Altorn says, in all fairness, Concord is a paid game. Yep, no, absolutely right. If Fortnite, Apex, Valorant, Finals, if all of those games were also $40 games, then Concord would fit right in there nicely, and you could choose. And even then, I don't even think the game would do very good. Okay? But we don't live in those worlds anymore. We are 7 years to 8 years beyond that point, and all these games are free to play. So if you have a hero shooter in the works right now, you probably don't want to monetize it in a $40 price tag. I don't know, call me crazy. Call me crazy. All right, here's another article. Players seem to like Concord, but its $40 price tag has led to a first weekend on PlayStation, or I'm sorry, on PC. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Right. The PlayStation Network doesn't have a public player number, and they won't. So it's hard to say what the complete picture is, but it's also a great Concord on PC. The $40 hero shooter is sitting at mostly positive reviews on Steam, but according to SteamDB, has far hit a high watermark at just 697 players and players on the opening weekend. Now, again, it's not getting bad reviews. It's just tone deaf of charging $40 for a game, okay, in a world of free-to-play. Crowd says Evolve's sold millions of copies and had hundreds of thousands of players at launch. It's dead now, right? Yeah. Altern says, Concord, not even the he-him robot could save him. That's right. No games are for everybody. Trying to be inclusive in such a small group of people while doing it turns away much larger amounts of people, a majority of target consumers. It's the best practice for you. Keep the stuff out of it. Just make a game. Make a game, sell a game. Don't preach. Right? Don't preach. Don't call your fan base toxic. Concord's developers went off, and one guy gave an actual compliment. It was like, yeah, don't take it personally. You know, I think this game is really good. People that are playing the game like the game. Okay? But you know what? That doesn't make money. Liking a game and not paying for the game, okay, doesn't make money. So you could charge $40, you could charge $60, you could charge $110, but if no one's buying the game, then you're not making a game and selling a game, right? If they came out with a free-to-play game and they charge microtransactions, okay, or if they had a PvE part of this game where it wasn't just a PvP game and you charge $40, I think that would be a much better thing. If you had a story mode, which they do, but you can't actually progress through it, you have to wait, okay? If they actually had a storyline where I could play a single-player game, you charge $40, and there was PvP on top of it, then by all means, $40 is well worth it. But you're just charging $40 for a game that's already out, competing with all free-to-play games, okay? Not bad reviews, has 6 out of 10. It's just a mediocre game. It's just a good game. What I'm saying is it's not a 3 or a 4. It's not a Golem. It's not a Kong game, okay? It runs smooth, right? It's a fun shooter, but it's $40. The current game quality is so shit, even if it's free, it would only go for 70 to 7,000. $40 price tag would be fine if quality was there. I don't think they could charge $40 because of what the game it is. It's a hero shooter. Literally, Overwatch went free. Overwatch went free. Argus says a child is born innocent, but will inevitably become a bad when tasked with its own survival. It's in our nature. We have to fight against our nature to be not toxic and not bad people. Crowded says I buy the game if they give me a free skin for every character that made them not like crap. Maybe that's in the works. Maybe that's in the works. I would also argue, Jones, that the quality is fine. For what I've seen for the game, I think the game looks good. I do. I'm not talking about the visuals of the characters. I'm talking about the gameplay, how smooth it is, the gunplay, what it is. It looks good, right? I think the quality is fine. It's the price point and then the politics and the SBI, DEI that's what's hurt this game. I don't think it's just the $40. I think it's the base behind it and the $40. I think the $40 has more to do with it than the DEI of the game. I truly believe that. Because why would I support, right? If it was just DEI, it was free to play, people would be like, well, it's a good game, I'll play it. Okay? But they're like, oh, it's got DEI and it's $40. Fuck it, I'm not going to play it. Jason says, I see no risk in innovating now. Everything is super safe, and not to mention, from design perspective, looks so bland and boring. Right. The game itself, we talked about this last week, Jason, right? This game does nothing to separate it from the other ones out there, right? What was that game that we just saw? Was it Frag? Something Punk Frag? Frag Punk? Is that what it was called? That we just saw last week during the Gamescom? It was another hero shooter, but it has cards. Okay? Not saying it looks better than Concord, but at least that game is a hero shooter, but it's trying to differentiate itself from the other hero shooters out there, right? It put cards in there. I haven't looked at Deadlocked at all. Deadlocked to me just looks kind of... the little I saw of it looks very similar to the rest of the games. But you know what? It's free, and Valve has a good track record. So they already have a fan base that's willing and ready to purchase and buy that game or play the game if it's free. Ragpunk, yeah, that's it. Travis says, Sorry, did you see that Dustborn didn't even break 100 players? Man, that's a Borderlands movie levels of bad. Well, they also have inside that game, they have a special ability called cancel culture. So we know where that game's trying to gaslight and whatnot. You know, that's actually a pretty good. Let me see what. I have a question. I just looked up Battleborn. How is there one guy playing? How is there 4 people, 24-hour peak playing? I could be the 5th. But think about that. Battleborn had 12,000 people playing. Okay. How is there one person playing? If you're that one person out there playing, get a hold of me. I like the single player aspect of Battleborn. You could get into a preview Well, Xbox has a preview program of it. I was gonna play it, but I was like, I played something else instead, which I'm not allowed to talk about. Mo can though. Mo can. Yeah, see, Mo said it. Speaking of Frag Point, if you're an insider, you have a chance to get in and give it a try. One guy just kept logged in. He's been logged in for 8.3 years. Eclipse says that's probably the one person trying to make it playable. And they've heard people are doing it that with Battleborn. If that comes out, you know what's coming out? Marvel Heroes is making a comeback. Crowded said Luke Stevens made a video previewing Dustborn. It was so cringe I couldn't get through it. I forgot I couldn't say anything. Yeah. But Mo, I agree. I wanted to combat, and now that no one knows, but people might know, I'm enjoying that game very much. And I can't say what game it is, chat. I'm looking forward to that one. Mo, I'm looking forward to that one. I'm speaking in code. Because unlike I know what game you're talking about there. Do you? Don't say it. Don't you? I can't agree or disagree with you in any way, shape, or form. I'm not sure when Fragpunk is due out, but you could get. They're doing a beta opening or preview program in October. We all know what you're talking about? No, you don't, Stealth. No, you don't. I don't know what you're talking about. Splitgate 2's coming. Dog barking at. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. No, I didn't read that, Jason. Did you read the news? How Valve canceled Half-Life 3 and Left 4 Dead 3. What, they canceled Left 4 Dead? Left 4 Dead, man. Left 4 Dead was such a good game. Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, fantastic games. Why do they not make 3s of anything? Why would you do that? Is Star Wars Outlaws not on Steam? Anything exciting of the Nintendo Direct? No Outlaws on Epic only? Interesting. Yazuka on Switch and Capcom Fighting Collection. We already knew about that though, didn't we? So they didn't mention anything new? Oh, you know what looks good? I want to bring it up a little bit. Let me I'm interested. I want to kind of look at this more because they just came out with more gameplay of Towerborne. Where was it? Yeah, here's a dev diary.
And that actually helps.
This is like a 5-minute long dev diary of Towerborne. I'm interested in this game. The more I watched of it, the more I was like, I'm really excited about this.
One of the most gratifying things about making games is seeing people enjoy, giving them something that they find memorable or impactful.
The marker of what is truly a great game in my eyes is that players feel like, this is my game.
Towerborne is an action RPG online multiplayer game. A beautiful cartoon-like setting.
You go out into the world, into this
I love the art style. Love the art style.
big map, and you explore it and then come back with your treasures and level up your characters back at the tower where a lot of the story is going to be taking place.
There's different weapon archetypes that you can choose, different gear sets you can choose, and every character can play a distinctly different role.
Our motto is, I want to explore the world and I want to be strong enough to do it. Get in there, kill something, get something that's better than what you have, put it on and go, I could take that guy over there.
Towerborne is different than what we did on Banner Saga in that it's a much larger game with a larger team.
Oh, these guys made Banner Saga? That's why I love the art style. I didn't know these guys made Banner Saga. I backed these guys when they were on Kickstarter way back when for Banner Saga.
In the past with Stoic, there's far fewer people, and we would sort of just drive it from that core group of people and make decisions fairly quickly and just stick with them and roll with it.
But we're hiring all these divergent talents from around the industry that are bringing their expertise.
And now we've got a great studio that has a lot of diverse voices.
And we want to give our design team and the creative staff the freedom to say, this feels good.
Just recently, we reset all the progression and itemization in the game. What we've landed with now is leaning more into the expertise of the designers that are actually working on the systems for this. So the game that we see today is very different than what we originally designed towards, and it's so much cooler.
That makes total sense on the style of this game now.
And so we've ended up developing it internally in the same way we intend to continue developing it for years with.
Hero says, I feel like when there's dev diaries, the games always end up being shit. In what way? Can you give me another example? Like a dev diary of indie games? Now I'll agree with you. Hero. With higher AAA games doing dev diaries, I'll agree with you there. Not totally, but I can see what you're saying. As far as smaller studios, every time I've seen a dev diary from a smaller studio, game comes out pretty polished because they have to. They're not AAA studios.
With the community's engagement.
A lot of our backgrounds are live games and interacting with
They're both good, Travis.
Before we launched Banner Saga, we launched something called Banner Saga Factions. And we got feedback from players just on the combat portion of Banner Saga. And every day we would go in and make changes and change numbers.
That was so fun. It was so exciting to see how people were using the combat system.
It was
The studio's indie, Mo. The publisher that they're owned by is not, which is Xbox Studios.
one of the pillars when we started Towerborne that we'd like to get back to.
We want to foster a community. We want to foster players communicating with each other, discussing strategies, discussing how they would like the game to change.
Towerborne from the bottom up.
Indie studio meaning smaller studio. Like the studio is not like hundreds of thousands of people playing or developing.
Was built, understand that it's going to be a live game, and we were hoping the whole time to be going early access with that.
That's really compelled us to create a game that we're capable of being responsive on and making sure we're building that community from day one.
And so the entire process has been, what are we building to give to the community? And can we make sure all of our fundamentals are in place, that this is a good game? When you start it, you can complete the whole core loop. It feels good. It feels satisfying to get stuff. It feels satisfying to progress through it. Great. Let's hand that to the players now. Let them engage with it. Watch what they do and say, great, this next set of content that we're prepping needs to look like this.
The exciting thing for the player is seeing the game evolve in ways that they have a hand in.
We have the ability to look at our analytics and say, oh, wow, they're not doing this thing that we thought they were going to do. And that actually helps us shape the questions that we're even putting out, and it shapes how we're able to listen to players.
Yeah, I'm excited about this.
It's not us just building a game where the players just telling us exactly what they want. It's a collaboration.
It's a dialogue, right? We know we have a fun game. We're interested to know how fun it is. And so getting that open, honest feedback will be really interesting.
We're moving towards an Xbox game preview next year, and there's just going to be an enormous influx of players, and we want to be ready for all of that. And Steam Early Access is the setup for us to get all of those pieces right, so that when we hit game preview on Xbox,
How does that work with the way the map is? Am I moving across like I'm controlling it, or you pick a spot and then you run to that spot? You know what I mean? Like, do we have control of this when they're running on the map here?
Get all of those pieces right. So
Or do you click on it and it just shows you running? You know what I mean?
that when we hit game preview,
Because as they're
on
running
Xbox,
through the
Couch
non-explored areas, I was like, why don't you just stop there?
Co-op can come online, a huge influx of players can hit that, and all of a sudden it just broadens out.
The thing about creating things and putting it in the hands of players is you think you know what they're going to do with it, but you never know what they're going to do with it.
I run a role-playing campaign, and every single time it goes completely off the rails in a completely different direction than I planned on. And that to me is the fun part. I see Towerborne as the same thing.
We're looking forward to all of it. The stuff they love, the stuff they don't like, the stuff they break.
Towerborne is designed and planned to be a long-term game. This is a game we're going to support for many years. It's going to evolve.
My greatest joy in this is going to be sitting here a year from now going, I had no idea that this would go in this direction.
All right, what did that say? Steam Early Access begins September 10th. That's right around the corner. That's right around the corner. I think that's gonna be a game that comes out of, I don't want to say nowhere, but what I mean by this is it's games like this. It's games like Power World. It's games like this. It's games that people look at and go, they don't think two seconds of, and then all of a sudden it comes out and everyone's like, you got to play this game. This game is so good. And games like this is where Xbox, I think, is going to shine. Not with the AAA games that come to Game Pass. I think they're going to shine with games like this, with studios like this, making games and people coming to Game Pass and paying that money to play games like that. That's what I think. I think it's cool. I'm excited. I'm excited for that game. September 10th. We're definitely going to give it a shot when it comes out. We're definitely going to give that a shot. See, what I like about that is they've done multiple streams now, showing gameplay. They're talking about the gameplay, they're showing the gameplay, and this is what I was saying to you, Hero, is that these game devs, they're confident in their game. Hence why they're showing it so much. And again, we won't know this until it comes out, but when a company starts to show gameplay, not cutscenes, okay, gameplay, that means they're like, we're ready to show this game. We're ready to push this game out. We're ready to have people play our game. Where other games, AAA studios, they like to show you cutscenes. They like to talk about the game, and they go back to cutscenes, and they don't really actually show you gameplay. And they try to hype you up on the IP. They try to hype you up on all these other things except the gameplay. Gameplay speaks for itself. Towerborne, Dolphin. Towerborne. Looks good. Yeah, we're right around the corner. We're like 2 weeks away from 2 weeks? 2 weeks away from on Steam. And it doesn't look like it's a really super intensive game. You know what I mean? Yeah, about 2 weeks. A little over 2 weeks. We saw the overview, deep dive in gameplay. Here, there's another one from a podcast they were on.
Combinations you could have.
Developers show up to the studio and they give you a hug, and I'm like, okay, all right, I picked the right co-host here this week. So on this special episode, we're actually going to meet the creators of Towerborne, and we're also going to get a look at some brand new gameplay. So hey, let's meet them. Hello. Wow. Trisha Stauffer, you're the CEO and president.
When you start making
Stoic,
rounds like this and
Daniel
talking about
McLaren,
it,
we'll just call you McLaren for the rest of the episode. The game director here. Now, I personally know
Dolphin,
Stoic as
I
the developers
may or may
of
have
the
not played.
awesome and
Can't say.
influential Banner Saga series, where I made some some very poor decisions while playing, but enjoyed it all the same. Help us get to know Stoic.
Absolutely. Stoic, independent
I have not,
video
Krebsy. I don't know what you're talking about.
developer. Been around for 12 years. Started with 3 people who made the original Banner Saga. I've grown from that to 5 to 12 and 20 when I joined back in 2020. And I'm about to hire my 100th person to the studio. And this whole team is...
Did you hear what she just said? 12 years ago, there were 3 people making Banner Saga. Okay? 3 people making Banner Saga. And now they're about to hire their 100th person. That is how you run a business. That is how you become successful. You make a game, you sell a game, you put that money back into the next game, you make Banner Saga 2, you put more money into it, you put more money into the people, you make a game, sell a game again, and over and rinse and repeat. And now they actually have a studio and they have 100 people. So that's exciting.
dedicated to Towerborne and bringing that to the audience.
Very excited because we are going to be doing that here. In fact, we're going to do something a little bit different for this episode. In previous deep dive episodes, we've looked at footage and we've sort of broken down those footage, but I see computers, I see controllers. You're actually going to be playing the game.
I can see, Dolphin, you didn't read. I can see you just kind of hit the buttons a couple times before you jumped in.
And we'll be talking about it. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about Towerborne, for those who are watching that might not be familiar with the game. Give us a quick rundown on what type of game it is.
Yeah, Towerborne is a side-scrolling brawler action RPG. The idea here was that we wanted to deviate from what we had done on the Banner Saga. And I say we as if I was there doing that. I did not do anything there. But they sat down and they said, look, we made our depression simulator. It was super heavy.
And confirmed.
Yeah, 100%. And the idea was we wanted to sit down and be able to play the game with our family or our friends. For them, it was the same. They said, like, we'd like to be able to sit on our couch with our kids and actually play this game. And that kind of started this brainstorming of like, well, what could we do that? And couch co-op came to mind, and then the brawlers came to mind, and had kind of all of those classics. And so we said, well, what if we take it further than what people have kind of done before? And so you now see Towerborne.
So you guys have been working on Towerborne for quite some time, and you just shared some pretty exciting news. Can you give us a recap?
We did. Today we announced we are coming to Steam in early access on September 10th, and we're very excited about that. And then in 2025, we'll be coming to Game Preview.
So they got paid good money, I would assume, for the studio for Xbox to put it on Game Pass.
Which includes Xbox consoles, PC, and Game Pass. And we're just really excited to get the game into the hands of the players.
Yeah, so can you tell me a little bit about why you chose early access, why that's important for players, and then why Steam first?
Absolutely. Early access on Steam.
I know why. Ooh, pick me. Pick me. I know why. Because there's 1.5 billion people, or I think there's 1.5 billion people that have a PC that could potentially, play the game on PC. Just putting that out there.
Allows us to work with the players, bring them into the game early, create and form that community, build that relationship there, and have them be a part of the voice that helps us determine where the game goes and what it looks like and how it plays and things like that. It's what we've done historically as Stoic in our Banner Saga games. We still have a great community that exists there. We're looking forward to building that and engaging with it on Towerborne as well.
Yeah, something that's very important to remember as well is that Banner Saga was started on Kickstarter before everybody else was really doing this sort of a thing. Yep. The trust that the community gave us, the big thing that Stoic was all about was we want to engage the player. And so as soon as they were able, they were throwing builds over the wall to the players. They're just like, how does this feel? Do you like this? Does this feel good? And that process, that entire game balance was actually built with the players alongside them. And they did that for all 3 games. And so this is our next step. Right? Instead of saying we promise we'll give you a game in the future, well, we've actually had the resources to build this game, and now we're going to hand them a very robust game. There's a lot there, and you can play the full core loop, and we're going to say we want to build so much more We want to continue to expand this. Please be a part of this and engage with us. So we're very, very excited to continue the tradition.
So that early access is through the purchase of a Founders Pack. Can
Correct.
you explain to us how that works?
Yeah, so at the start of early access on September 10th, you will be able to purchase one of 2 Founder Packs. And in doing that, you will get access to the game. And you might go, but why would I pay to do this? Well, because we are looking for people who are really excited to be a part of that journey. And we do want to have an opportunity to engage with a core group of players who are very committed to it. And I understand there's a lot of players who look at early access and like, meh, I really just want to play the whole thing when it's all done. Awesome. And we want to make that a great experience. And part of getting to that point is having people who are so excited to get into that, who want to get into, oh, I think this number should be a 6 instead of a 2. And we're like, actually, that's pretty right. A 6 is better there. And even deeper, like, oh, could you make this thing happen, that thing happen? Like, we're here to serve the player.
I supported them right when they started, Water, and then again with Banner Saga 2. I helped companies like this back in the day and gave them all my feedback for Banner Saga. I not that it's the same company, a different company, but Albion Online, I did supported that when early access back in the day. I'll probably throw money at this for them. I like their studio. I like the games they create. I didn't know that Towerborne was with Stoic. Now that I know it's with Stoic, then I'm even more excited about the game.
And so we want them to feel like we need them, and we want them to feel like this belongs to them, and we want to go on that journey with them together. So I'm personally very, very excited about this.
And we're about to give them a taste of what they're going to get with that Founders Pack, because you have controllers sitting here. You've got gaming PCs.
Yeah.
Why don't we just jump into the video, right? Or not video. Let's jump into live gameplay. This is live gameplay, right?
This is live gameplay. You are watching my input, or my
I like how he's not really a Jedi.
Okay,
so I know the game
Boss
is,
lady
like,
and not really a
Germany
Jedi.
at Gamescom are playing Towerborne right now. Is this the Gamescom demo, or is this something else?
this is not the Gamescom demo. This is the latest and greatest builds. It's everything.
I love the art style.
In Gamescom, they'll be playing a very specific level against the Pangojira boss. This, we're showing a bit, right now we're on Belfry. This is the tower, and this is the social space. There's things you'll do here. You can see there's some NPCs here to interact with and all that, but it's the hub that you'll come back to. But the really exciting stuff is, oops, I went up the stairs for no apparent reason. The really fun stuff that you really want to see is we're going to go ahead and play a mission. And Towerborne, as you know, multiplayer, online, up to 4 players, and McLaren and I are in a group right now, and so I will be the
Cross-play,
leader.
cross-progression?
When you come out here on the world map, you can see it's zoomed in pretty far, but I can zoom out and be like, oh wow, what's over there? I wanna go check it out.
So
for now, we're here.
So I love this. She's just moving it along the map, so it's not just pick a thing and then it runs across the map for you. Like, you literally go where you want, point of interest, click LB on a certain spot, and you jump into that hexagon, and then it goes into the board.
See these larger tiles with names on them. Those are called ventures, and they're infinitely replayable and part of a quest line that you might be following. You can see on the right side of my screen, I have some quests that I am supposed to be taking care of. We could actually go.
Yeah, Hero, they're very good at listening to feedback from players. Like, when Banner Saga came out, they're very big into the community stuff.
Play one of them and get it knocked off the.
Tell me more about these treasure chests.
The treasure chests.
My little
yes.
loot goblin soul goes
I
right to
left
those.
some of those available. So, talk about loot in the game.
Yeah, so the core of what we've done here is we want players to be killing things and finding stuff and getting a bunch of loot and getting more powerful. Like, everybody loves loot games. Well, not everybody, but I do. And so
you're in a comfortable, safe place.
Yeah,
here, right?
listen.
It seems like they're different levels.
We're all about that. And
She's
so
level 4.
what you see here is the framework.
She opened up one that was like
of
level
the build
17.
That will be going live for early access. You might see some weird quirks. We're still finishing it up, but the whole loop is there. You'll be able to go into missions. You'll be able to kill monsters. You'll get loot drops. You'll be able to upgrade your stuff. The whole core loop is there. So I hope players find that super exciting, because we find it super exciting. And I'm that individual who's like, I just need this last piece to make my build go crazy, and I'm willing to grind into the endless hours of the night.
You started to say we were loading into the mission, and you said you hope, and you looked at me, and I thought you were about to say, I hope that you will do well in this mission.
I wasn't gonna. I think it's a little too early to start the trash talk, but don't fear, I'm ready.
Yeah, you guys are on the same team. As
Are
a
we
reminder.
though?
Yeah.
Are we though?
There's some cooperation there.
Yeah,
like
100%.
you'll see at the end of the mission, there are some stats there. So if you want a little friendly, like, hey, who did more here? One of the
I like
things
it's like
that's
an old
unique
school
about
beat 'em up. You know what I
Towerborne
mean?
Is, you're following my camera right now, and unlike a lot of online co-op games, you're restricted to sort of the same space. This encounter right here is about 3 screens wide, or 2 screens wide, and which means I can be off doing something, and McLaren may not be in the picture at the moment, but we are still
There's
fighting
more
to
than
do
2
the
players
same
on
thing,
this.
trying to
There's 4 players.
protect this tent
Jones.
right now from 3 waves of enemies. And here they come.
Yeah, this is one of the mini challenges. So a lot of our missions are procedural. So there is a lot of stuff that you can go and play, and you can replay, and there won't be the same
I like
thing.
that
We've added a lot of
like swinging that
handcrafted
hammer
content
or whatever
to
that
the game
mace
as
he's
well.
got.
So
It
sometimes
feels
you'll
like it's
get a
got some weight
procedural
behind it.
mission, but you will find various little challenges like this pop up through it. Those are all handcrafted. We continue to add more all the time. And then there are the larger, as Trisha was talking about a bit earlier, the larger, we call them venture missions. There's no AD in this world, only ventures.
All right. Let's talk about, there's a lot to talk about here, everything from the art style to just what I'm seeing, the weapons you're using. You just casted magic.
Yep.
Ooh,
I like
magic.
Oh,
No magic.
tell me. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about it.
That was my Umbra.
Yeah, September 10th on
Morby.
Steam.
Talk about Umbra a little.
Yeah, so the premise of the game is that you have died and you've gone into the ebb, and you were pulled back from the ebb by an Umbra, and the Umbra are
I
the
think it's
spirit
classes, but I'm not
creatures
sure.
on the other side, and you form relationships with them. You can find different Umbra. They do different things. They have their own set of powers.
Is that who's floating behind?
See the difference between when we talk about you go to Keeley Fest, Summer Game Fest, and they show the AAA games, and they show you like if they show you gameplay, it's like bits and pieces, very very small, right? They just show you cutscenes. Oh, it's the greatest game ever created. It's got so much stuff, and then you look at the independent developers, the smaller studios. They come out and show you a shit ton of their game, and a lot of people don't give a shit because they're independent developers, right? They have to show you the game. It's almost in the same realm of free-to-play games have to be good because there's nothing else going for it. You know what I mean? Like, they have to capture you with free-to-play. Like, you hear free-to-play and you're like, ugh, right? But then you start playing a free-to-play game and you're like, oh, this feels good, right? Because it has to be good. Because they know it's free-to-play. There's so many other games out there that you could play. They're like, we got to hook you. We got to hook you with this. With independent developers and studios, they have to show you gameplay. They have to put all the stuff out there and be like, hey, look at this. This is what it is. And then you're like, oh, wow, that actually looks really good.
Behind you there?
Yes, that's who's floating behind me. This is Iska. Iska is a little colloquially called the cat.
Like, look at that mace that he hits. Look at the weight behind it.
Floating behind me, this is Iska. Iska is a little colloquially called the cat ball. And Iska can shoot a little
I think it's spinning as well.
out.
Yeah,
And
it's
hit your
spinning.
enemies. And who do you have?
I have
Trisha?
Morby, one of my favorites, and Morby will drop this massive shockwave down from the sky, and it's good for clearing out. If you've got a lot of enemies around and you just need to clear some space, that you can not get killed.
I need one of those for my email inbox.
So I'm assuming the red bar underneath you is your health.
Yeah, but even after the $250,000 a minute thing, Water, they don't show gameplay after the video's over. You know what I mean? They don't have devs just like, yeah, they just show the same cutscene over and over.
And then the 3 segmented blue bar, what would that be?
That's your focus ability. So if you notice, each weapon has
Here's
abilities
one right
attached to them. There you go. That's one for her.
Oh, that's a big
and
one.
then I have a launcher. There are different abilities that require more power.
Imagine being a vacuum salesman, but leaving it in the box. Be like, yeah, it's a vacuum. Like, you got to let people see what it does.
Or less power. So my 2-pip ability will be a spin to win, flaming.
Let's get that one going.
Yeah, I know.
I'll go take care of the.
Yeah.
You deal with these guys.
So basically, you earn focus by actually completing your combos. So this was something that we have kind of worked through and talked about.
She's got a build-up going.
In earlier builds, you just would get focus power by just hitting, and what was happening is people weren't using their full combo setup. And so it kind of turned into this diminished play where you have all these neat combos with a weapon, but players weren't actually using them.
So
So
its
we've
full
modified
potential.
the system so that you actually get more focus power by completing your 3 or 4 button combos. And then when you do, you can then do more interesting stuff. So you can see I'm still getting it, but when I complete a whole combo, if I could actually do that, I'm good at the game, I promise. You will get more pips of power.
I'm showing off some
Yeah,
of
but
my
where's it
favorite
going up
moments.
for him?
All right.
And
I don't see a meter on him.
I see McLaren, you have a big war club.
Yes.
And then Trisha has really cool gauntlets. So do the combos vary based on the kind of weapon that you choose? You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Like here I'm doing a combo, and based on
That's
you know,
cool.
gauntlets are pure, in your face, up close combat. It's distinctly different from what you'll get in war clubs or dual daggers or sword and shield.
How many different sort of types of combat is there?
There are 4 classes in the game, and each class uses a different weapon type.
There you go, Dolphin. There's 4 classes.
You could swap classes anytime you want, except during combat like this. And there's the War Club, the Sword and Shield, the Dual Daggers, and then, of course, the Gauntlets, which you see Trish wearing. And we will be adding...
I wonder if you have to level up all the characters differently, or if it's like your account and then you can just use whatever character you want.
new classes over time, so new play styles, new weapons. You almost sabotaged me with that barrel. That wasn't very nice.
I was
Okay.
trying to
on your
save-
toes.
See, we're trying
They
to-
haven't
in
said
this
yet.
Mission, we're trying to save these prisoners that have been taken hostage, if you will, and so we're helping them. But the enemy is nearby, so we have to get them.
Yeah. And this is the best way to help others, which is to swing a big giant weapon at the cage and with no damage to them. That's lessons for real life, kids.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know.
And so between being able to swap out, you can swap out your Umbra, correct?
Yes.
And you can swap out your weapon class. And so between the two, it seems pretty customizable. So the Umbra aren't attached to your weapon. So like you could, you know, swap out whatever special powers are attached to them and your weapon.
I want to
Seems
see
really
his special ability,
customizable.
but I don't see a
The
meter.
idea here was to create a game that has a lot.
Oh, I
of
think he's
variety
got
in
it.
how
I
you
see a
play
1 up
and
there
the
now.
builds that are available to you, and the gear that you find, and the modifiers that you find, which we call aspects. And we just wanted players to play the way that they wanted and be excited about it, and be excited about the stuff that they find.
I don't think it's a $70 game at launch, Nate, because it's an early access. So I would assume, again, I don't know. On September 10th, when it comes to Steam, it'll probably be a smaller price, probably like a $30 or $40 price tag. I don't know what it is. I'm just guessing because it's early access at that point. There you go. Dolphin says, no, it's $25 early access, then free to play. So there you go.
Like that's kind of the core part that makes these games fun, is when you discover something that you like and you find a way to modify it to do really interesting things. Like that feels good.
Yeah.
I also think, you know, we always talk about Towerborne as being very approachable, but deceptively deep, right? Again,
No, I think you're right, Dolphin. I think it is a free-to-play game. It's a free-to-play game, but the early access, they're charging because, obviously, you're getting early access. If you're paying $30, $40 for a AAA game for 3 days early access, and you pay $30 for 7 months early access, you know what I mean?
I put the controller in the hands of a 4-year-old and an 88-year-old. They both
Yeah, it's free-to-play, Jones.
loved it and did well.
Yeah.
You can button mash. You can, you know, if somebody comes over and never played it before, I say, you know, left thumbstick and X and Y. You will feel successful. But if you love fighting games and combat, you will want to go find. You know,
It comes out
all
for
the
early
combos,
access
how to
on
do them,
console,
how
I
to
think,
do them
down
well. One of my
early
favorite
next
here
year.
with the gauntlets.
They're
is the
doing
elbow
Steam
drop.
because they want to get the
Uh,
feedback from the community.
I do it.
Do you have any folks on the team that like maybe have fighting game pedigree or something to like add like additional depth?
We certainly have several people who've helped us out. Your own James Goddard has contributed and helped
Worked on
out.
Killer Instinct, Street
Yep.
Fighter. Yep.
Yep, and our combat director is a guy by the name of Isaac Torres with a long history of combat experience and fighter experience. Has competed in tournaments. We have several very legit designers on this game who've contributed and continue to make our combat better and better every day. Oh, we got the LT on the scene.
We just completed our challenge, which means a lieutenant shows up, and now the fun starts.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
they have like a secondary bar there. They have like a sort of an armor bar.
That's their shield. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a break bar, and so the typical break bar, you will do damage through the break bar to both their health, but you'll deplete the break bar, and once you do, they'll go into a stun state, and you get
Nice.
punish
Turn the wrong
phase
way.
begins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now it's all about how quickly because they will get back out of it.
That's right.
Elbow
And
drops for the win.
Some abilities will do break bar damage. Some abilities will do health damage. So I used that spin to win, which does more break bar damage, and was able to really kind of get them.
Oh yeah, Z. They don't have the
Very
same
good.
type of art style
It
and
sounds
same
like, the
characters as
combat is the
Banner
depth
Saga.
is there if you're looking for it, but if you're not, so is the difficulty level of the game on a sliding scale, or is there just the one way to play?
There's a whole range of difficulty levels. So we start you out pretty easy, danger level 1. You just kind of go through, you can mash buttons, and then as you get better and you work through the game, you can level up the world's difficulty, and then you can select difficulty on the tiles. So you have some options there.
So can we talk about like leveling up? Is it purely based on those types of stats? Is it when you finish a level? Is there any sort of unlockable skills, or is it mostly numerical?
So the process right now is each class has its own progression path. In the early access build, everything is kind of fixed at the moment. So you'll gain levels and you'll be able to, your health will increase, that sort of stuff. In the future build that we have coming later during early access, we're working on improving that system so that as they level up, you can actually select different abilities.
Nice.
There will actually be, points to invest in things. So phase 1 is the classes are there, they level up.
So
you get a little-
they're still pretty far off from a released game. Okay, so it's early access on Steam, and even when it comes out for Xbox, it's still going to be an early access. So I would say this game is still about a year away, but they're just opening it up for people so they could, put it out there, get in people's hands, and then start molding it to what the players want. It seems like.
A little bit stronger. Your health is all based off of that class. Each class levels up independently. So as you go through the game, you'll want to invest in each weapon that you like.
Can we talk about the map? Like, so you finished that level. Did that unlock a certain area? I know when you zoomed out, it looked like the marine layer was having a day. Like it was mostly fogged of war. But are you unlocking more through those battles?
Yes, with every tile that you unlock, the adjacent tiles are then available.
And so you complete a mission, and it takes you back to the world map, and you can either choose to dive into another mission or go back to the tower based on like how you're feeling. If you want to change out your weapons,
You don't even. You can go to the tower. You'll need to go to the tower to go to the forge to enhance.
Okay.
But if right now I can go right here. I said I don't want to do my gauntlets anymore. Let me change my class. I'm gonna do. Let's check out some dual daggers next time. And
you do like throwing elbows. I see you.
I do.
Level
Yes,
7
yes.
breaker.
I can do it right there, and then I just checked my loadout. I have cat ball here. I still like playing with Morby. I'm going to keep that going.
One of the things that I'm passionate about in games is how I look. So can you tell me a little bit about like how customizable your appearance is and like how you would go about changing that?
Absolutely. So I think someone tried to do the math a while ago, a few months ago, on how many different combinations you could have from an appearance standpoint. So keep in mind, there's your appearance, so what you look like physically, but then there's the gear that you might also put on, which also changes your appearance.
Right,
And then
so
there'll be other ways of changing that.
there's
So if we
cosmetics
go
over.
here to face right. You'll see here, I can put my helmet back on if I want to or not. But this is me in the game, and I can change from a masculine physique or a female physique. We've got multiple voices that you can even have in the game. So when you hear the sound effects, you make sounds when you're playing.
Oh wow!
But I want to see myself in the game. I'm
right
purple.
Now and it's just this easy. I can.
Okay. You can change whatever you want.
You can just throw a dart and decide what you want to be. Or some people like to be very fantastical in what their appearance is. Some people want to be. How can I make? My husband, every time he goes in, he's like, I want to make me, and he's always looking for that.
Right.
So, but I can change whatever I want. We've got a lot of options. You could. You can see my irises right there. Even like we have combinations. So this is the head, and then you've got your head shape, your facial features. Like there's subcategories below all of these. The hair, you can change the color really quickly. Everything that's on the color scale, and the eyes get pretty fun. I just found the iris details the other day. I was like, oh, what's
when did this guy here?
You can have no irises. You can look, just be like alien.
Yeah, this looks like a lot of fun,
You're in a
gentlemen.
fantasy game, so you have pointy ears. There's really a lot of freedom here to be something else.
And then there's lots of details that you can apply to the face.
Oh, nice.
And this is all unlocked at the start.
100%, yes. We're really looking forward to what players like.
Yeah.
I can just imagine the gallery now. We have people internally who are doing a lot of cosplay.
Yep.
They built out different characters, and
So you don't look like a level 1 person even when you're level 1, right?
Yeah.
Well, at least your equipment might, but your
Towerborne fashion show.
And
100%.
and I'm even wearing our.
Dumb question.
actual- I'm over here. I used my little cosmetics to wear my possum. It's our cosmetic. So there's a cosmetic system. I'm wearing the possum, PAW, like awesome.
Yeah.
The possum. You see?
I
That's
thought
the
I
joke.
meant like paws, like a
Yeah,
animal
yeah.
possum.
I realized when I said possum that my pronunciation made it sound like I was wearing an actual possum.
yeah. I was like, this is a little more
This is a little
Tanuki
weird.
style or
This is
something.
weird.
Yeah.
But no, this is a cosmetic, so you'll have full cosmetics. You can change everything from tip to tail, including weapons, and even the Umbra
And
Yes,
will
they will
have
their own
skins.
cosmetics.
I want a character right now. See this guy in the background? See how big his body style is? I want to be able to make a guy that big. I hope they add that in the game down the road.
emotes as well. Is that what I'm saying?
Yes,
Here?
yeah, there will be
I wonder though if that has to do with like hitboxes and whatnot.
emotes and stickers and.
Yeah. So again,
Can you rename Nyx? Oh, you must be behind in the stream. No, Nyx is Nyx.
social space on the tower. So if you want to use a sticker, want to use an emote, you've got those on the wheel. There'll be others that you can earn and take advantage of.
Will you just be seeing your party in the tower, or will you see other folks
You'll
playing?
see other folks.
Yeah.
Right now,
Other folks are not playing right
yes.
now. Yeah.
We might see somebody run by if they're
There was
out.
somebody on the world map when I was running around when you took off. I
Well,
was like,
that is also an interesting piece. Not only will you see players on the tower itself, you'll see them on the world map running around. So you might see a group of people like, oh, why is everybody over there? What's up? Should I be over there too? We just really want people to see, what's going on and where they might want to head for the action.
And so is your party leader in charge of selecting the level that you go to? So basically your party leader will go out to the world map, choose your mission, and then everyone else will get sucked out there?
Yep.
Yes, you can be anywhere, and like McLaren can stay here on the tower. You won't see him because I will leave.
Can we ask questions like, is it cross progression? Like, what are these hosts doing?
And I'll go into one, and even if you aren't, we haven't talked about danger levels and danger license trial. Here on the map, if I zoom out, you can see this red line. Oops, let me.
Yeah, the
go over
three
there.
over there in the
You
corner
can see
here.
this red border, and that's because you can see the 3. I've earned my way into danger level 1 and 2, and I haven't done the trial yet for 3, so that's still locked to me.
You can only go everywhere the light touches, Simba. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Sure.
Basically.
And if McLaren had only, hadn't gotten through 2 yet, I could still take him into a danger level 2. He just may be a little
Under level.
undergeared.
However, what is really cool about what we've done is we've tried to balance the gear versus the skill. So I fully expect somebody to be completely naked, running through, doing the maximum danger level.
You always have to plan for that.
Yeah, 100%, like beating the hardest thing, and it's taking like 4 hours because they can only do like 1 damage.
And so the reward for completing the trial and getting into a higher difficulty level is more XP, better gear, all of that jazz, and
more better
exploring the world
loots,
map,
as
more
the kids
better
like to
stuff.
say. Yeah. That's what I
So
hear all
right
the
now
time.
we're loading back into the mission. McLaren had happened to be on the tower at the time. He got a message that popped up to accept. He could decline, and off we go.
And so we're seeing the two of you play together, but you can play up to 4.
Up to 4, yes.
And does the difficulty balance based on that?
Yeah,
It does.
scales based on number of players, the difficulty that you set. And then of
No,
course
I don't
we
think it's the
will
first 2D.
be tuning
Dolphin.
and
I think there's
balancing
other ones
the
out
game
there.
quite a bit over the. I wasn't even.
So question, Tricia. So you switched over from the gauntlets to the double daggers. I see you now have a different sort of meter. It looks like a segmented three yellow ones.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
For this particular weapon, you get a special move with that, and it's where you can teleport to where the dagger is thrown.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's cool.
All right, that's
So
going to be
you
my
wanna be
class.
watching
I'm calling it.
That's cool.
It's awesome. You're like, oh, let me get over there really quick, take care of that enemy. Yeah, it's one of
And that regenerates, but you also do have the blue skill as well that builds.
Yes, I can show you what that is. Get a good spot. And sort of a dash.
I love that, but I also love the giant war club. Just
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
go
Hulk
nuts.
smash.
They are
Yes.
both. I mean, they all serve their purpose, and they're all super fun.
Yeah.
And it's just it's one of those things where we think people are going to be like, all right, I'm getting pretty good at this.
Yeah.
Pretty good at this.
We're
me go
definitely
try
gonna give
them
this a shot when it
next.
comes out.
And, can I play this level? With dual daggers, is it better? The one thing you mentioned aspects earlier, and so these are. You put them on your weapon and gear. We've only been in grasslands. We should go into another biome, but different biomes might have different types of enemies.
Oh, look at that boss. Hold on a second.
Go into another biome, but different biomes.
Look at that guy. That's cool looking. It's like a giant possum
Of different types
or
of
a sloth or something.
enemies that hurt you in different ways. So you can have an aspect that might help you in those certain biomes, or help you do different damage to the enemies. I think I have an aspect on right now that after 6 hits, it applies poison to the enemies, even though I'm not poisonous myself. So there's things like that there will be some strategy. I talk about, it's not a strategy game, but I do think there is strategy between how you load out for different biomes, different enemies, bosses, whatever they might be, but also how you take care of, what order do you take care of the enemies? If you watch, you'll see the different tiers. We start with claw gobos and bomb. These are tail whippers. You can see there with the yellow, that's the warning that they're about to come at you.
We've seen more different enemies in this game than we've seen in Marvel's Avengers already.
But they're spear gobos, and when they come through, you better take care of them because they're going to get you. The bomb gobos, a lot of people have fun just seeing if they can get them to blow up their little buddies instead of us. It's really fun to sort of bait them, and they'll throw a bomb, and then you get out of the way. And then earlier we played, and you might have seen a tent, and that's where
That was respawning
they can spawn.
enemies.
Yeah, so you want to take care of that, because you can't just sit there and you might say, oh, I'll just farm some enemies here, but that's not really how it works.
No, we have diminishing returns, so you can't just exploit the enemy spawners as long as you want. You are incentivized to kill them before they overwhelm you and kill you.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to stand there and let them stab me in the back, because why not?
Yeah, those are the spear gobos, and they will stab you, but they will also come charging at you.
Yes.
And
It almost gives me that Dungeons and Dragons cartoon
Clean 'em
feeling
out.
a little bit.
So We're seeing a lot of the offensive attacks. Is there any sort of defensive things like either parries or specific dodges or anything like that?
So you have all of the dodging ability, and then if you equip Sword and Shield, you actually get parry. And there's an ability where you can activate perfect parry to stun an enemy.
Why might be that Sword and Shield?
So that's pretty great. Yeah, it's pretty
Dual
great.
daggers or sword and board. I don't know.
Yeah, and the best part, Sword and Board actually has a really great shield dash that's super awesome. You just kind of clear out stuff. And they have a decent kind of a spin attack, but really if you want to spin and win, you go War Club. That's what you do.
I like being rewarded for actually using my shield because I tend to just attack first, ask questions later. So when there's a reward for actually shielding, I'm a big fan.
It is a challenge. Oh, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. And I took that bomb to the face.
Yes. So you saw me die, and a few seconds later, I come back to life, and I can do that 3 times. Well, I can do it twice, and on the 3rd time, I am downed, and I need whoever I'm playing with to come and help me and revive me. And the first time you get revived, it's pretty quick.
I can see good fun with my son with this.
But if you keep going down, it takes a little bit longer each time for you to be revived. So you have to be careful, like lead the enemies away from them so you can get over there and have enough time to revive, because you are vulnerable when you're reviving someone. So you have to be careful. So
very good.
Victory screen, we got the end of mission screen that'll show all of our. Well, show my cool loot, and then we can compare scores.
100%.
Which I don't expect to have done a lot of damage. Right. I was on the daggers, but.
I mean, I too am fond of excuses on why I can't carry my weight. Oh, finally, I got a War Club upgrade. All right, cool.
So what is the loop? Like, do you typically, after finishing a mission, go back to the tower and do stuff, or do you just frequently jump right into the next level?
I mean, it's up to you. The best part about this is it's structured in a way where, as long as you're not in a mission. So one of our focus points here was we didn't want players stopping the flow of a mission because it is cooperative in a lot of ways. The last thing you want is trying to kill that boss and somebody's opening their inventory. Oh, what do I want to put on here? And you don't want that at all. You're like, just stay focused, dude. So once you get out, you can open up your inventory from the world map. You can go back to the tower if you'd like, and you can look at all the loot you've got. You can make decisions.
Yeah, I'll probably pick it up, Dolphin, on Steam.
You can dismantle stuff for Spirit.
Because when it comes to Xbox, it'll be free to play.
We have an upgrade system that we are working on that will come over the next year. So one of the things that happens in an ARPG is, because it is a loot-centric, grind and find sort of a mentality, games over the years have introduced relief systems. So you have Diablo 3 and you have things like the enchanting system, you have Kanai's Cube, you go into Path of Exile and you just have a crazy deep crafting system in there, and they try to introduce deterministic behaviors. And so what we've done, just to kind of set the baseline, is you've found some gear, and sometimes it can take a while to find that next upgrade, which can be frustrating. So what we've said is, well, look, certain gear can be leveled up a certain number of times and just raised up a whole tier level so that you can keep playing and you're not just stopped and grinding something that's way below you because you just can't get the piece that you need. So you can dismantle the stuff that you find. You can just do a very simple upgrade or enhancement to raise it up a tier. And then over the coming year, we're going to introduce a more advanced system that will allow for more deterministic behavior, choosing stats that you want to find, like modifying things. There's a lot of stuff we want to do there. So from anywhere, you can just open up your. This
is definitely going to be a game that's
screen is showing
not going to come out for like another year, but early access for the next year.
I was just going to show what you're doing right there, which is go through your inventory, see what you like, and make changes. So
yes.
All right.
That's awesome. One of the things I do want to touch base on, which I can't believe we haven't yet, is just the art style. Like, just like some of the textures, the detail, and even when you're fighting, the outline of your character, like there's just so much there. Can you tell me a little bit about what inspired you guys, or, what some of your favorite parts of the art style is?
Yeah, this was originally thought of as a Ghibli-inspired game. And so anime, Ghibli, that was kind of, again, when we talked about this way earlier, the concept of sitting with your family, having a more family-friendly game, getting away from that depression simulator. We wanted something bright and colorful, something that was fun to look at and something that was fun to play. And the anime-esque style
they definitely got a cool vibe
so well for us. And so we've pursued that over the years that they've continued to evolve it. Our art team is brilliant. They are fantastic. It's led by Pedro, and he's just freaking amazing. He's done an incredible job directing the art style of this game, and it's gone through many revisions, and then every time we change the lighting, it's got to go through, but they've just managed to make it just look so inviting.
Yeah, it feels hopeful.
It does. It is very hopeful. Yeah.
One of the things you asked about inspiration. One of the things we really
almost gives me like a
wanted was,
Monster Hunter
that
feel.
It should feel like you're watching an animated movie.
You know what I
when
mean?
you watch the game, and it's
Not the
I really do
gameplay
think
wise,
it is a fun
just the
game
art
to
style
watch.
of it and
So
stuff.
many things are animated. Like I love looking at the backgrounds and like everything is moving. The leaves are moving on the ivy. The trees are moving. The fans are moving. There's a waterfall. All these sort of NPCs are doing their own thing. At one point, we saw these two kids sort of
the three
playing with
nephews
each
are
other.
Here, one's playing by the fire, which I think,
It's
maybe
kids love it. Kids love a good
gonna learn
open
to
flame.
Hang out Blaze.
I don't think he's playing. I think he's on.
working?
I think he's on the clock. Yeah,
on the
he's on
clock.
the clock. Yeah.
And you'll see things here that are, part of the story that you'll see that they brought back to the tower to remind them of things that have happened. And that's, that's one of the things that's good to remind people or tell people about. This is not a Banner Saga story.
I must be playing the wrong Monster
Banner
Hunter
Saga
game.
was a very
No, what I'm
rich,
saying is they
story-driven
going back to
game,
the town and stuff like that. It
narrative-driven
feels
game.
lively.
This has lore. It has
Like when you
deep
walk into
lore,
Monster
it
Hunter
has
town,
story in
with
it.
the-
It has
whatever
quests that
tower,
you'll take
whatever you
on.
wanna call it.
But if you're expecting to have that same sort of story
Dauntless, I
interaction
guess
that
you could
did
say
with
the same
Banner
thing.
Saga, that's not what you're going to find.
This is action first, right?
Yes.
Absolutely, right?
Depression
And
simulator
it's,
must be talking.
you can
I think
see
he's
here
talking
I've got
about
Courage is
just
one
other
of
games
the
that look just
NPCs,
dark and doomy type of
also
stuff.
An Umbra, mature Umbra. It's got something else for me to go take on, right? And so that's how you'll continue to learn more about what's happening
I be
here
a
in
rabbit?
this world and with
I wanna
these
be a
people
rabbit.
and what's going on here and why are we all here? Why are we on this tower?
What does it
and
all mean?
why do I keep going out and
ask myself that
risking
every day.
myself? Why am I protecting these people? So.
All right, you showed us so much. So, Trisha and McLaren, thank you so much for just bringing this demo with you. When do we get to experience Towerborne?
Towerborne will be available early access on September 10th on Steam.
After that,
Yes.
what can players expect?
Yes, in 2025, we'll be coming to Game Preview and Game Pass.
All right, one more time, Trisha and McLaren
Game
from Stoic Studio.
preview and then Game Pass. So Game Preview, you'll have to probably get in if you're a part of the preview program, and then obviously Game Pass when it's down the road. But it doesn't seem like it's coming to other systems. It's only going to be on PC, and it's only going to be on Xbox.
Thank you so much for being here today. And
So
Kelly,
I'm
thanks
excited.
as-
I think that game, game like that looks more interesting to me than most of the other games that we've seen, and we don't know, and they come out broke, buggy. Again, the game's not launching on September 10th. It's coming to early access September 10th. And, say what you want. If you want to support a game that's not out yet, paying the $25 to support them, and then wait a year to fix it. No, a lot of people don't want to do that. And by the time people pay for it and then it comes out in a full release by then, maybe most people are just kind of like done with the game anyway. I played Minecraft for like 3 years, 4 years almost before it actually officially launched. But I enjoyed my time in that game, and it was like $4 when I first helped them. So I'm interested in this. I'll probably throw $25 at them because I like Stoic. I like their past games with Banner Saga. So definitely interested in that. Hope you guys found some information out of that. If you're interested in that game, if not, move on to the next one, whatever you're interested in. Let's go on, Ford. Concord never had hope. Yeah, Concord is struggling. Very interesting to see how tone deaf a company could be by coming out with a game in a landscape of what they decided to come out in. All right, it's 1 o'clock. I do appreciate everyone coming out and hanging out with us. We do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like what I do here, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Like I said, we do this Monday through Thursday. We do streaming in the evening, 8 p.m. tonight. We're going to be playing some more Star Wars Outlaws. We played about 5.5 hours last night. I enjoyed myself. So come back out tonight as we play more of it. You can ask me questions, see things in the game, see if it's for you, if you want to play it or not. I already gave my thoughts earlier in the show. If you're looking to get Star Wars, I personally think you pay $18 or Get the standard edition, but do not get the 3-day early access and pay $140 or whatever it is. But those are just my thoughts. Again, I'll see you guys tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. If I don't see you tonight, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of your afternoon, evening, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.